Three, two, one. What the heck is bothering me? 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. What's the heck is bothering me? Nothing. Cause we're on We All Be all the way live on We All Be. News free Dixie for the 21st century. Once again, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, the wokish and the sleepish or the sheepish. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm your host for this empowerment segment, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the Artemis, and this is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. Just making sure everything's coming in loud and clear. It's been a long time, as in it's been too many days. A lot of things has happened since we last went live on November 23rd. So many things to talk about, so little time to get them all in and make them all rhyme. It's a lot of things been going on, but I just want to touch bases with the people. Still can't believe it's the first day of December. If you are in the central and mountain, even in East Coast time, it's still December the 1st. This year has been a blur. It's been a very trying year for a lot of us. Like I said, like I'm always saying, 2020 was a sucker punch, but 2021 is Tyson Fury, because you see the punches coming, but you can't do nothing to stop it. Your legs getting all weak, getting weak in the knees, and you got to fall out, trying to catch your breath. You got this damn mask on your face, and it's hard to keep that in place as you try to fight the good fight in 2021. But we're going to talk about a couple of things tonight. A couple of things I want to touch on. I might not get so in depth into like how I want to go into it, but I just want to put my spin on it, because like everybody's talking right now. A lot of people talking, but they're not saying too much of anything. They're just talking, just like they're just exercising their gums, their mouth, their tongue, their lungs. They're not saying too much of anything of value. They're just running their mouth, and it's hard to make sense of the nonsense sometimes. And I'm just here just to put my own spin on things. Like I always tell you people, don't mistake the mailman for the Messiah. Stop mistaking the mailman for the Messiah. Just go to your mailbox, your P.O. box, and get the mail that's intended for you. If it's junk mail, throw it away. If it's mail of substance that can do your life some good, that can enhance your life, please, by all means, embrace the message. Find what's good, in it for you, and then do what it do. But stop mistaking the mailman for the Messiah. I'm not into this color personality thing that people like to be involved in, especially black folk. I don't follow nobody. Y'all ask me, have I heard so-and-so podcast? And more than likely, I have not heard so-and-so podcast. I just can't, there's a lot of this stuff is about ego for a lot of people. They just like want to get on the podium on their soapbox, and people follow them, give them all type of things, all type of proclamations and exaltedness and all this stuff. I don't really care for all that. I don't do what I do for acknowledgement or for awards or recognition. I like to give out awards and recognition and acknowledgments to people that deserve it, but I'm not in it for that. Life is a marathon as far as I'm concerned. But before we get too deep and steep into what we're doing, I'm gonna read the disclaimer. YouTube, listen to the disclaimer, right? Disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. So as y'all can see, I'm just checking everything, see everything is all right. I don't want to have no connectivity issues that I can control. I want to be in control of it, whatever I could be in control in, and let the Most High in the universe, so God, handle the rest. It's like everything coming in good and clear. Everything's good and clear. I was kind of debating. I wanted to go on last night, but man, life happens. I got a lot of stuff going on, like everybody else, and nobody knows the trouble I seen. Nobody knows my sorrow. All that I don't, talk about that type of stuff. I actually think talking on the air to you all is very therapeutic for me in a way, and I hope y'all get something out of it. And I just came across a phenomenon known as sad clown syndrome, tears of a clown. Like, people see, oh, brother Ron, he's laughing, he got a good sense of humor, he's smiling, but nobody knows. So I was like wondering, like, sometimes I feel like I'm happy and sad at the same time. That's most of the time it seems like. It can't be bipolar, so I'm doing it, having a happy and sad experience at the same time. And my sister ran across this thing called sad clown syndrome. And, a lot of us are court jesters. We don't know it. A lot of us worship court jesters, and that's the problem. And we're going to talk about tonight's topic. I'm not getting to the sad clown syndrome mess, but we're going to talk about tonight's topic is, what's the next topic? Let me see. What is tonight's topic? Is chicken coming home to roost, or chickens coming home to roost? Question mark. Malcolm's daughter, young Dolph, King Richard, and the Black Godfather. As you know, Clarence Avant unfortunately lost his wife of 55 plus years to a alleged home invasion today, or early today, in Beverly Hills. You people trip me out. Well, young Dolph should have left South Memphis. You should have left Memphis. Well, young Dolph got shot in Hollywood and got shot at in Charlotte, North Carolina. He was getting shot at Memphis in his home base. But what I'm saying is death knows no zip codes. Death knows no area codes. Death is everywhere. You can't escape death. You ain't gonna cheat death. So she got killed in Beverly Hills, where she lived there for decades. She lived in Beverly Hills for 50 plus years, from my understanding. This is Clarence Avant's wife. Clarence Avant's daughter is married to the CEO of Netflix. And Clarence Avant, I didn't know who the hell he was or that he existed until a couple of years ago when that Black Godfather documentary came out on Netflix, right? Nobody really knew, except he was an industry insider in the music biz and show business, who this guy was. But this guy was incredible. Like, if you read his resume or his bio, you think he was a made up character, that he didn't really exist in real life, kind of like a Dick Gregory, but he actually existed. And, it was a popular documentary, The Black Godfather, produced on Netflix. Like I said, his daughter is married to the CEO of Netflix, so that makes sense. And then I found out that he was just recently honored. He got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the person who did his introduction was none other than Lionel Richie. Hello, is it him you're looking for? Oh, you look for Clarence. My bad. Here, Clarence, it's for you. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Want to put you in. So he's got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, along with Jay-Z. So that's interesting. But I knew Jay-Z for a long time. I didn't never heard of this Clarence Avant guy until 2 years ago. So anyway, we're going to get a little bit of everything. So much to talk about. Like I said, so much to peel back, layers to peel. But I'm going to try to do it in 2 hours. So I think I got the crowd warmed up. I'm going to check out in the chats. Thank you for tuning in. We love you madly. We love you madly. We love you madly. Kryptonite. Yeah, that's how 2021 is. Get weak in the knees, man. Yes, hit the like button, please, dude. Well, I am the content, man. I'm Mr. Substance. What are you talking about? This is I. What you see is what you get, bro. What you hear is what you receive. What you see is what you get. I am who I am. Ain't nobody like me. God only made one. So enjoy me while you can. And hit the like button. If you're getting stuff out of what we doing or what we all be is about, hit the like button, please. Tomorrow to get to the content. Hell, y'all so busy. Y'all just want to look at some football, some fool's ball. Y'all love bread and circuses. Y'all love getting fed off the BS and getting distracted and getting mind numb. Time to wake the hell up, people. Get this Wheaties. But anyway, who gonna talk about? Who gonna talk about first? I guess we could talk about Malcolm's daughter. You know, as y'all know, his youngest daughter, Malika Shabazz, I believe her name, Malika Shabazz, passed away on they say a natural death, but nobody dies a natural death in a killing machine. Y'all do realize we're living in a killing machine and everybody's a sacrifice. Some bigger than others, some smaller. We all blood sacrifice. Y'all do realize that we're living in a killing machine. So there's no such thing as a natural death. If you're not living in a natural way or in a natural environment, how can you have a natural death? Ain't nothing natural about this environment, this society that we live in. So it wasn't natural. Whatever the cause may be, is anything but a natural death. But Malika Shabazz was found dead in an apartment in Brooklyn by her daughter on November 22nd of 2021. Now, y'all do realize that November 22nd was also the 58th anniversary of the alleged death of President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, who was, I believe, the 35th president of these United States. And he was replaced by who? Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was the 36th president of the United States. How old was young Dolph when he died? He was 36. And y'all start gematria out. Okay, ooh. But it's interesting that Malcolm's daughter dies on November 22nd. You remember when Malcolm was asked by the press what he thought about the death of President Kennedy. And he basically said it was like the chicken coming home to roost. The chickens were coming or are coming home to roost. It's like when you do, it's like karma. Like you do bad everywhere else, then karma comes to your front door. Sometimes it comes through the back door, but it's coming. It's coming back. It's a boomerang thing. So that got him expelled, right? Got him excommunicated, from the Nation of Islam for about 90 days. That we all know it became final. That he never returned to the nation, or has never returned to prominence within the nation as the national speaker of the Nation of Islam. So I just think it's interesting that his daughter would die on the anniversary death of the man who he said death was caused by karma. And then the week before, the alleged killers of Malcolm were exonerated. They were found in a court of law not to have killed Malcolm. They had spent decades of their lives in prison for the wrong crime. They did not kill Malik A.L.L. Shabazz, brother Malcolm X. They did not kill him. Now, my thing is, they may be innocent of that, Muhammad Aziz and Khalil Islam, but they're not innocent. If it's true, if they were enforcers and goons for the Nation of Islam, the fruit of Islam, they were not innocent of creating the environment or contributing to creating the environment that got brother Malcolm assassinated before his family on a Sunday in the Audubon Ballroom, February 21st, 1965. You know, Muhammad Aziz was featured on their brother's Netflix show about the Malcolm X murder, right? He talked about how the shotgun man was a prominent figure in Newark, in the Newark Muslim community. And it is a prominent civic figure in Newark, period. You know, he was featured in a Cory Booker campaign video not long before he died. So he was well known, and he actually was an alum of what is now known as Malcolm X High School. I can't make this stuff up, folks. The guy who was one of the alleged shotgun men lived a very luxurious life of prestige and acclaim in Newark, New Jersey. The alleged killers, or the killer that was convicted, we know the one who said the other two guys didn't do it. He was from Mosque 25 over in Newark, New Jersey. The killers all came from allegedly Mosque 25 over in Newark. It is claimed that Minister Louis Farrakhan was at Mosque 25 that day that Malcolm was hit. I have yet to see any video footage of anybody. I don't even think Mike Wallace asked him this question. As much as Mike Wallace interviewed Minister Farrakhan over the years, like, you know, it was Mike Wallace along with I can't think of the black journalist's name right now, Louis Lomax. They produced that documentary called The Hate Produced, that profiled brother Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam. So Mike Wallace was known for interviewing, along with Louis Lomax, for interviewing brother Malcolm And then, and also Mike Wallace had a long career. He interviewed Mr. Farrakhan on various occasions, along with Malcolm's eldest daughter, who was on the same interview one time with Farrakhan and did not forgive him for his hand in leading to her father's death. Minister Farrakhan was real close to Brother Malcolm. Malcolm trained Minister Farrakhan. He was known as one of Malcolm's ministers, according to the Dr. Manny Marable hit piece, biography, The Reinvention of Malcolm X. I interviewed Dr. Manny Marable, and it was an interesting interview. But Lewis is from Roxbury, a community in Boston. Malcolm's eldest sister or eldest sibling, I think Ella, she lived in Roxbury. Her home is now a historic site. And her son, Rodnell, runs the historic site along with his son, where Malcolm will lay his head as a young man, as well as a family man before he died. He would, stay at his sister Ella's home. Ella was responsible for providing him money to go to Mecca and other places to travel. She was his benefactor. And also, she was the one that started the pilgrimage to Malcolm's grave burial site every year for his birthday. She started that. And you should check out some of her interviews. She got one interview, I think it's still on YouTube. She talked about how basically Malcolm was like a messiah to her, like how he grown into his role as a messiah. And then she's also in the documentary that came out in the early 90s that's very good about Malcolm. I think it's called Make It Plain. Henry Hampton, the guy who produced Eyes on the Prize series, his production company produced it. It's probably on, it came through PBS. I still think it's on YouTube, but they interviewed Malcolm's siblings, his running buddy, who's also wasn't his running buddy. I think one that Spike Lee played in the movie, Shorty. They interviewed the actual Shorty, I think, his siblings, even some of his frenemies or enemies he made, like the guy who was the captain of the Fruit of Islam at his mosque. He was interviewed. He was still bitter after all those years, after they helped, create the environment that killed Brother Malcolm. But I'm not trying to get too long in the tooth, but my thing is, them guys got exonerated does not mean they were not guilty of contributing to the death and early demise of Brother Malcolm by the harassment and the terrorism that was brought against Brother Malcolm all around the country. Like, it's well documented that Brother Malcolm will go out to Los Angeles. You have these Fruit of Islam brothers following him around, trying to start fights, trying to, beat him up or even kill him. He had some of his followers that were brutally attacked, like what's it? It's Leon Amir, who was the former publicist for Muhammad Ali. When Malcolm left the nation, Leon Amir went with Malcolm. He was a part of Muslim Mosque Incorporated, but he was severely beaten. And then he went to the authorities after Malcolm's death, saying that he had information about who might have killed Malcolm. And then the next thing you know, he's dead up in the Sheraton up in Boston back in March of 65, a month after Malcolm, less than a month after Malcolm died, under questionable circumstances. So there's so many people that got killed and brutalized around the Malcolm thing. It's like when young Dolph, like y'all not seeing this stuff happening in Memphis. It's folks dropping like leaves off of trees in the fall around this young Dolph thing. But I think that the local news people have been advised by the police, since there's an active investigation, not to connect those dots too much. But there have been people getting killed around here, not getting robbed, but just getting shot. And it might have alleged connections to the young Dolph situation here in Memphis. See, the young Dolph, people don't understand. Young Dolph was hit, right? Clarence Avant's wife lived in Beverly Hills for decades, and she got killed in an alleged home invasion. Y'all keep on thinking y'all can outrun death. Young Dolph wasn't doing anything but being himself. I understand where he coming from, where he got a song on his last album, Paper Route Illuminati, Trust Nobody. I don't like riding around in entourages. I'm a well-known figure. I guess people recognize me for some reason. I do YouTube, but I go around the country and even in Memphis, and folks recognize me and they come up to me and say, hey, I say, hey, do I owe you money? No. Did I sleep with your wife or girlfriend? No. So what's up? Oh, you brother run. We all be? I said, okay. So I take a selfie, whatever. People kind of weird. President Kennedy had bodyguards. Tupac had bodyguards. Huey Newton had bodyguards. Robert Kennedy had bodyguards. A lot of people had bodyguards and still end up dead. If these folks want to get you, and they're not gonna stop. They'll find ways to get you. Malcolm had bodyguards. That day that he got killed, they wasn't doing their bodyguard duties. They didn't even have no guns. One guy did have a gun. I think his name was Reuben Francis, the one who shot the guy who's living free and quiet in Brooklyn, the guy who actually said that he did help kill Malcolm X, the one they let out several years ago, who's living a quiet life in Brooklyn. They just did a New York Times article on. See, he actually, Thomas Hayden or whatever his name, I don't know, he got different spellings of his name. But Malcolm had bodyguards that day. Y'all talking about bodyguards like they're gonna stop you, they're gonna get you. Young Dolph was getting shot at in Memphis. He was getting shot at in Charlotte. He got shot in Hollywood, California, 3 times in the abdomen. I don't see how he survived that one. But I'm saying he was getting shot up at Memphis. That was his kingdom where he was at, getting them cookies. Ain't nobody from there that was gonna do something to him because he do so much for the community. He did so much for the community. He's buried in South Memphis, not that far away from Castalia. Y'all talking about he was gonna get buried in Chicago. Why he buried in Chicago? He always repping Memphis. Young Dolph didn't talk about no Chicago. He was talking about Memphis. He put Memphis on the map. He put South Memphis on the map. He put Castalia on the map. He wasn't repping Chicago. Why would he be buried in Chicago? He was born in Chicago. Well, I do notice that cats that love Memphis, a lot of times they not born in Memphis. I'm not from Memphis. Like, I was born in Knoxville. My mom and them from Memphis. My dad from Saginaw. Saginaw produced Stevie Wonder and Serena Williams along with some other people. Memphis produced their fair share of prominent people. What I'm saying is, I've been raised, I lived in Memphis most of my life, so I am Memphis. I rep Memphis harder than cats who were born in Memphis. They don't even love Memphis. I think Memphis is a phenomenal place to be from. Hell, that a part of your backstory means that you come from a place of greatness. Memphis incubates greatness. It's an incubator for greatness and innovation. It makes you tough. It makes you resilient. I can't do what I do without dealing with Memphis. Memphis don't really love you back like that. Even if you love Memphis, Memphis don't love nobody. Like the song said, love don't love nobody. So I can have love for Memphis. Memphis ain't gonna love me like that because a prophet is always without honor. So I don't do, like I tell people, I'm sincere about what I do. I don't do it for the fame or recognition. I do it for the love of what I want to share information and through my own way, be creative with it. But getting back to Malcolm, Malcolm was killed in front of his family at the Audubon. Malcolm had offers from around the world to leave America. They said, we'll protect you, brother Malcolm. You come be our visiting professor, whatever. We'll put up your family. Malcolm made a lot of interesting friends around the world, but Malcolm said, enough running. If I gotta die, let me die a man. So he said it was a time for martyrs now. So he died a martyr's death. Young Dolph said, I can't run. These folks won't get me, they're gonna get me, but let me put my house in order. That's what young Dolph did. He got his house in order. Malcolm didn't have enough time to put his house in order. And y'all talk crap about the King family, but at least Coretta, who was a Taurus like I am, had enough sense to put that family house in order so they could have stuff to fight over. At least she had enough sense to make sure that she controls some of Dr. King's intellectual property so her family could have something to fight over. They could live comfortable, because y'all don't understand all the hell the King family went through. Just due to history, I talk about it on the show, but I think people sometimes don't get it. Get this book, The Plot to Kill King by Dr. William Pepper. It's a great book to read. The Plot to Kill King. His family was been terrorized. It was following Dr. King family before Dr. King was born. The government spied on Dr. King family for at least 3 generations, starting with his maternal grandfather, who was the pastor at Ebenezer before his father became the head pastor. So they've been spying, or they've been, Dr. King was going to school with people that were agents, what I'm saying, like the teachers and the students in Morehouse and all over throughout his life. Dr. King was a blood sacrifice. There's a lot to this stuff. Like young Dolph was a blood sacrifice. December 8th will mark the anniversary of the U.S. Civil Court ruling in Memphis that the United States government was complicit in the assassination of Dr. King. And you might not say, well, it's a civil court ruling, but it's not even about the ruling. It's the fact that they used the civil court case to create a paper trail for folks to follow, to understand what really happened April 4th, 1968. Not only what happened April 4th, 1968, I'm tired of people saying that Dr. King was killed by Memphis. Dr. King, just like Kennedy was killed in Dallas. Dallas did not kill Kennedy. CIA may have something to do with that. You know, the guy who was the mayor of Dallas, his brother was CIA, who got fired by Kennedy along with Allen Dulles, who was the head of the CIA. They both got fired by Kennedy. So Kennedy happened to die in a city that was ran by the brother of a top CIA guy that he fired. Earl Cable or Cabell, whatever hell. Cabell. He ran Dallas. His brother was Charles Cabell, who was like top 3 brass at the CIA. So then you want to have the person that Kennedy fired, because Kennedy didn't care for the CIA. He want to get rid of it. He gonna be the lead investigator on the murder of the president for the Warren Commission. So you're gonna have your enemies, have his enemies be the lead in trying to find out what happened to him when they the ones that behind everything. So y'all be thinking it's the mafia. The mafia is not bigger than the government, man. The government created the mafia. The mafia is nothing but the hitters for the government. You know, they got rid of Sam Giancana and Johnny Roselli. You know, they got rid of, they were working for the CIA. Y'all think the mob is running? No, it's the government that run the mob. Don't you know the mob was scared when Mussolini became powerful up in Italy? He was running the mob out of the country. He was putting them in jail and stuff, helping them paraded down like circus animals and parade in cages. Mussolini was putting his foot up there. You know what? But I'm saying the government create the mob. The mob don't run the government. The government runs the mob. Why do you think they was able to get Al Capone in jail, in prison for income tax evasion? And really, they rigged that trial. He didn't get a fair trial. But that's another story, because y'all believe Kyle Rittenhouse didn't act in self-defense. So I'm not going to get into what they did with Al Capone to get him in prison, because he was never found in a court of law guilty of killing anybody. Y'all say he's a murderer, but you never prove it in a court of law. So how you going to say he's a murderer beyond a reasonable doubt? So what I'm saying is it's a game they play. Like with Memphis, folks be feeling bad about King. King was, the government killed King. The gun that killed King could be traced back to the FBI as far as chain of possession. So like I said, I want y'all to do yourselves a favor. Get this book, you know, please, The Plot to Kill King. And he'll break it down. Some things I may not agree with, like the St. Joseph's thing. That's interesting. They said that Dr. King died at St. Joseph's, was smothered by the chief surgeon to death. According to a black nurse who was an eyewitness, they spit on Dr. King's face and put a pillow over his face to suffocate him. The thing about that is Dr. King, that he survived, he would not, we would not revere him like, I put it like this. Dr. King, if he had survived April 4th, he would have been an invalid. He could not be able to speak because the bullet ripped his tongue out. He would have been paralyzed, not able to communicate. It's kind of like if George Wallace actually died when they tried to kill him, assassinate him, there will be like bridges and schools and streets and all type of stuff named after him. But because he survived, you know, or whatever. It's like I saw an episode of Larry David Curb Your Enthusiasm, right? It was like, I think episode 1, you know, it was interesting because Larry ran into you know how you go, you know how you have them sliding doors, sometimes they be so clear looking that you think it's like air, but it's really glass. So he ran into the door thinking it was air. He was walking out into the patio and ran and fell back, and folks started looking at him differently. They started treating him like he was an invalid, that he was like getting old and he was feeble-minded because he ran into a glass door that he thought was not glass there. So that's how people would treat you if you survive something like that. You become like, you know, in a wheelchair, you can't talk. Oh, man, he looks so incapacitated. I feel sorry for him. Who wants somebody to feel sorry for them when you was known as a virile, that's full of energy, just bold, audacious person, to be reduced to a person like in a shell, in a wheelchair? Nobody wants to be remembered like that. Like when Dick Gregory said, he was out in California, from my understanding, when Dr. King got assassinated. And he was saying that, you know, he said in a couple of interviews after that, that he was glad that King died the way he died, because had he lived, the impact would not be as great as it is now in terms of his legacy. So the way young Dolph died, you know, his partner has a campaign, Black man deserve to grow old, but the way he died makes him a legend. He's a legend forever. He'll never grow old. You know what I'm saying? Like the way he went out is how legends a lot of times go out. You know what I'm saying? So he'll never grow old. And the deeds he did, you know what's interesting? about young Dolph. He was born in Chicago. You know, December 4th is the anniversary of the martyrdom of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. That's coming up. Him and Defense Captain Mark Clark was killed on December 4th, 69 by the state. The U.S. government killed Fred Hampton Sr. and Mark Clark while they were sleeping. The U.S. government did that. But I truly believe that if young Dolph was living 50-something years ago, he would have been a Black Panther. He would have been there with Fred Hampton and Mark Clark. This type of brother he was, as far as his heart given to the community, investing in the community. And yet y'all said somebody like that should run away from his own shadow, let alone his people. You can't escape death. Like I said, they kill people everywhere. You look at these gangsters, they get killed in barbershops and restaurants and steakhouses, movie theaters. You know, John Dillinger was allegedly killed in front of a movie theater, Biograph Theater in Chicago. You look at Murder Inc. guy, Albert Anastasia, you know, who was the head of the Gambino crime family. He was killed at the barbershop at the Sheraton. You know, Joey Gallo was killed at a seafood restaurant in Little Italy up in New York on his birthday. Where you going to run? Bugsy Siegel was killed in Beverly Hills. I mean, y'all keep on talking like you escape death. Oh, if I upgrade my zip code, then like some of the worst killers be in those them high retail zip codes. You think about it. When the Nazis was brought here to America, guess where a lot of them lived at? They lived in Orange County, one of the wealthiest zip codes in the country, right? Orange County. That's where all them damn killers live. Those are the real killers. I ain't talking about the little mom and pop killers. I'm talking about they wholesale killers. They the Walmart, the Amazon of killers. They were moving in Orange County on the government's payroll. So y'all come on, well, you know, the killers in the hood. Look, it's like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, man. Black folks still want to live around white people. And they like Black Wall Street massacre never happened. After the Black Wall Street thing never happened. But let me, I'm getting deep into the young Dolph. I'm gonna come back to young Dolph, but let me finish Malika Shabazz. Just like the King family, the Shabazz family been through a lot. And I don't really see a lot of Black media outlets talking about the death of Malika Shabazz. I actually know a person who's related to Malcolm X. Her grandmother was Malcolm's sister. I don't know if her grandmother's still alive, but if she is alive still, she'd be almost 100 years old. But her father used to listen to my show back in the day. I didn't know her father was a fan of my show, but she's a beautiful sister. But she was a cousin of Malcolm Shabazz, Malcolm Jr., who got killed in Mexico under questionable circumstances. Look at what all that family been through. They're not allowed to have male heirs. They got a male. There's a male grandson of Malcolm and Betty Shabazz, but he's not active. I don't blame. As far as I know, he's not, you know, in that activist lifestyle like his grandfather. He's not doing that, as far as I know, and I don't blame him. Because like, you know, Malcolm had beautiful daughters, but they don't have a lot of sons. It's not a lot of sons or grandkids, it seemed, in Malcolm's family. He had like, you know, he had two of them in the womb, like his daughter, the youngest, who just died. She was in her mother's womb, but that trauma, you understand, like Fred Hampton Jr. was in his mama's womb and was born a couple of weeks later on December 29th of 69. But the trauma, you can hear the trauma in Fred Hampton's voice. You know, Fred Hampton, he speaks fast, and, you know, you hear all that. He's brilliant, but you hear the trauma from December 4th of 69 in his voice. I can understand what Fred is saying. He said he talk. I know I talk fast, but I can understand what Fred is saying. But you got to understand, it's a miracle that he survived, that they didn't pull the trigger while he was in the womb. Like, they didn't put that gun. It was a Black police officer that gave Fred Hampton allegedly the kill shot, shot him in the head, the coup d'etat, the coup de grace, whatever they call it. He was known as Gloves or something like that. He was known. And so they used a Black man to finish him out, just like they used Black men or males rather to kill Emmett Till. See, Black folks don't know. Black folks in 55 knew that there were Black folks involved in the kidnapping, torture, and lynching of Emmett Till. Black folks in 2021 don't know that. See, y'all only think that Black lives matter when white folks kill us. Y'all don't want to hold each other accountable for this. But I'm just getting off. But I'm in the Shabazz family has suffered so much. And I don't know, you know, that she died from the shock of what happened the week before them guys got out, because they not, you know, like Khalil Islam. He's been dead since 2009, right? His sons were not notified. They came at the last minute after they were coming from Virginia and Florida. But my thing is this: These guys, there's pictures or there's video footage or film footage of a guy that looked just like Muhammad Aziz from February 21st, 1965, excuse me, outside the Audubon. The Malcolm X series did not address that. The one on Netflix, the guy, I mean, he's like a good brother from DC who did that. But my thing is, it's a lot of stuff that was left out that I wish I even wrote him, I think, on Facebook. I tagged him in the post I did that there should have been some things they should have covered in that Malcolm X, Who Killed Malcolm X docuseries that was not covered. Like he never addressed, okay, but who's this guy that looked like Muhammad Aziz? He got the same type of facial features, stature, and the hat he was known to wear. Why? Who was that guy that's in front of the Audubon after Malcolm X get killed? If he didn't kill Malcolm X or help kill Malcolm, why is he there that day? Or like, you know how they got that photo of George Bush supposed to be up in Daley Plaza the same day that Kennedy got killed, and George Bush, like he can't remember where he was at when George H.W. Bush, Poppy. He can't remember where he was at when Kennedy got killed, but he can remember where he was at when Pearl Harbor. We heard the news about Pearl Harbor that happened like 20-something years earlier. But he can't recall where he was at on November 22nd, 63. But he can recall vividly where he was at on December 7th, 1941. You know, and President Bush Sr., he was a pilot in the military. He was the youngest pilot in the military. I think he was like 18 or 19 years old, like Judge Joe Brown said. That's crazy. Almost got killed. You know, got shot down. Luckily, he survived, I guess. Luckily for him. Was it luckily for us? I don't know. But the fact that somebody like him could die in his sleep in his 90s peacefully, and somebody like Fred Hampton Sr. could get killed in his sleep or die in his sleep violently at the age of 21 is a sad state of affairs. Really, so it's really much so. Really much so. But the Kennedy thing, now Dick Gregory says that Kennedy was not killed November 22nd, 1963. Then he lived 10 more years on an island owned by Aristotle Onassis. Jackie Kennedy's next husband. She was married to Aristotle Onassis. Got some money from him, like at one point the world's richest man. But according to Dick Gregory, Kennedy lived for 10 more years on an island owned by Aristotle Onassis. Now, there's a book that came out that's been traced back to French intelligence. It's called Farewell America. You can find on Amazon. Farewell America came out back in the late 60s, right before the RFK assassination. It talks about how intelligence agencies were involved in the killing of President Kennedy. Now, you want to understand what happened on November 22nd, 1963. Research Operation Mongoose and Operation Northwoods. Look up Operation Mongoose and Operation Northwoods. It's like with Dr. King. You want to understand what happened to Dr. King on April 4th, 1968. Look up Operation Lantern Spike. It's Operation Lantern Spike, like the Green Lantern, Lantern Spike, Spike, Operation Lantern Spike, and also codename Zorro. Zorro was the name given to Dr. King by the FBI. They called him Zorro. So look all that stuff up. And Dick Gregory was a pioneer in researching both the Kennedy and the MLK assassination. You know, Dick Gregory was on air with Gerardo Rivera on this show, Good Night America, when the Zapruder film was unveiled to the American public for the first time. So Dick Gregory is an interesting cat. You know, so he's an everywhere man. He's everywhere. He's like the Forrest Gump of Black history. He's everywhere. But he's smarter than Forrest, though. He got his wits, may the ancestors and Most High be pleased with his service. But the stuff is deep. But but no, I don't see too many so-called new black media folks talking about the death of Malika Shabazz or the family, what they've been through over these decades since the death of their father, but also with the mother. You know, Malcolm Shabazz Jr., I call him Malcolm Shabazz. I know Malcolm Latif Shabazz, the grandson of Malcolm and Dr. Betty. He died in 2013. I remember when I received the news where I was at, you know, and who I was with and what I was doing, and it disturbed me. I think he died on John Brown's birthday. You know, the Harper's Ferry raid or the death or execution of John Brown. The anniversary of that is tomorrow, December 2nd, 1859. I actually went to the site where they executed John Brown in Charlestown, West Virginia. It's a very interesting place. But Malcolm Shabazz was killed down in Mexico City you know, the place where he was killed outside a bar or inside a bar. We don't know because the camera footage was deleted or destroyed, or the camera didn't work. But he was set up. He was assassinated, and I remember really the black media didn't even cover that. Really, I think the New York Amsterdam News had a statement from the family or something, but it was not really covered in depth because, you know, that same year, Lifetime did a movie called Betty and Coretta. Let's talk about the relationship between Dr. Betty Shabazz, the widow of Malcolm X, and Sister Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. King. Now, a lot of the stuff they showed in the Lifetime movie was fabricated, was exaggerated, according to folks who know about the true dynamics of their relationship. But two things they try to do in that movie was to character assassinate the minister, Louis Farrakhan. They're trying to imply that he was the mastermind behind the death of Malcolm X, which I do not believe. What I believe is that he was complicit in creating the atmosphere that killed Brother Malcolm. And he admitted that. And that Mike Walls, he wrote an article in the paper that Malcolm X founded calling for his head, calling for his death. He said it a couple of times in speeches that a person who betrays a nation, I'm paraphrasing, a traitor to a nation deserves death. So there's been documented footage, and even from his own mouth, his own words written down, that he did call for the death of Malcolm, his once Jegna. He called for his death. He admitted to being, but he also know that there's a bigger hand at play. Like the nation could not do things. Like Malcolm said to himself, I trained these people. I know what they can do and what they cannot do. They cannot deny him entry into France. Nation of Islam don't got the type of clout where they deny Malcolm entry into another country. Who can do that? It wasn't Elijah Muhammad. But Malcolm also recognized there were police elements in the nation as well, too. He recognized there were police infiltration of the nation, or there were police officers of color who were Nation of Islam members. So he said, how are we going to do what they say we're doing if we got police all in our organization? Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but he said it in the speech. I believe the audio was still out there. See, there's a lot of stuff they're scrubbing out the internet, or it might be written down in text. But I mean, see, what happened with us is we don't really do no research. We don't do no deep thinking. We get on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all these social media apparatus. You wait for a talking head like me or somebody else to tell y'all what to think, instead of you saying, you know what, Brother Ron said this and that. Let me do some research. Let me take note of what he said, and let me do my own research. And let me come to my own conclusion on how I process that information. You know, I remember Dick Gregory saying that Elijah Muhammad one time showed him a big old check he got from the government. And Dick was real close to the Nation of Islam, because y'all thought that Dick had issue with Minister Farrakhan. He didn't have issue with Minister Farrakhan. He had issue with the strategy about how to boycott Christmas with Minister Farrakhan. So a lot of you brothers from the nation, y'all know who I am. It's funny to me. I go to any place in the country, Fruit of Islam, Brother Ron, hey, how you doing? Can I see Farrakhan? No, Brother Ron, but we love what you're doing, though. Why I can't see Farrakhan? If you love what I'm doing, if I go to Baltimore, if I go to Chicago, go California, y'all know who I am. You know what Brother Ron's about. What's the problem? I guess I have money like Kanye to see Farrakhan, or some money like I gotta be a rapper or somebody. But anyway, I got a plaque for Farrakhan. So did I believe that Farrakhan killed Malcolm X? No, I believe he contributed to the atmosphere that made the killing of Malcolm X easier. And he admitted to that. And go to the Mike Wallace interview. He admitted to that much, you know. So that's gonna be a part of his legacy and obituary, just like with Colin Powell misleading the public about the war or weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. You know, I don't know if he lied to us or he misled himself by the information the folks provided it to him, but he did acknowledge before he died that's gonna be a part of his legacy. That presentation did before, the United Nations is gonna be a part of his legacy. And you could tell that it bothered him that this was going to be a part, because we was invested 20 years almost in that mess. All them lives lost and families, you know, fortunes, you know, it's unfortunate things happen, right? So why are we not talking about Malika Shabazz and her family right now? I mean, I didn't know. I mean, the Virgil guy, now he's interesting because that Virgil guy, what is it, Virgil? Ablo, Virgil. I think it's Virgil. I didn't really know, 'cause I'm not into fashion. I'm not a fashion guy like that. Now I do clean up nicely. I'm gonna start giving me some more tailor-made suits in the future, but I'm not no fashion guy like that. But he was a big deal. I didn't know how big of a deal he was until he passed. I didn't even know he really existed. That's just me. That's how out of tune I am with the rest of y'all, you know. But he was a big deal. So to lose that brother at 41, what a loss. To lose young Dolph at 36, what a loss, man. And one thing about these guys, they seem like they love giving back. Like Virgil's, like he really loved giving back to the community and also making avenues for people that look like us to thrive. So, you know, it's just unfortunate. And that's why I know that you can't take none of this for granted, man. You know, I don't know what's going to happen next year or how everything will be looking for me a year later from this point. I just know that all I got is this moment, and I'm going to make the most of this moment doing the things I love to do, which is to help serve the people with information, feed the people, and encourage the folks to do their own research. So sending out blessings to his family. They just did his fashion show down in Miami, I believe, in the Art Basel or Basil, whatever they call this stuff. It's like a food topping on something, not Basil. But anyway, getting back, blessings and condolences, amplified blessings and condolences to the Shabazz family for their loss of their sister, the youngest, Malika Shabazz. She was a twin. I actually met her twin at Malcolm X's 90th birthday party up at the Shabazz Center, where he was assassinated. You know, now it's known as the Malcolm and Dr. Betty Shabazz Center, something like that, up there in New York, where he was assassinated, what used to be known as the Audubon. So I met some of Malcolm's daughters. They're beautiful, strong genes, right? They all look like Malcolm. They're beautiful women. They all look like Malcolm. You can't deny. He don't even have to go on the Maury Povich show. You can't deny them children, them daughters of his. They look like him. You could strong features in their faces and stuff. But you could tell they got a lot of pride in the legacy that their father left them. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of honor, a lot of respect, a lot of love in their legacy that he left them. And I gave one of the daughters a plaque, you know, because Ilyasha left early. I wanted to meet her because she's such a gorgeous woman, such a classy woman. I'm just surprised she ain't been married or have kids. It's weird. But like I said, a lot of them I don't think have kids. They don't have a lot of grandkids for Malcolm. I don't think there's a lot of he got a male grandson still around, but he's not doing that work like his grandfather did. And I can understand why. I mean, you see what happened to his cousin. But anyway, it was amazing going to the 90th birthday party. I saw Lord Jamar. I didn't get a chance to meet. I recorded him. I met Immortal Technique, that good brother. I met Immortal Technique and some other people. But anyway, it's just really sad what happened to Malika Shabazz, and it's not natural. She didn't make it to 70. I mean, at least in the Bible they said 70, right? That's a blessed life. You live to be 70. Blessed life. She wasn't even 60. She was 56. And she died on the 58th anniversary of the death of President Kennedy, who her father said it was like chicken coming home to roost. So I don't know who write these scripts, man. Like I said, there's not a lot of us talking about their family sacrificing and their death. But I think I did Malcolm that stuff justice, right? Oh yeah, she's gorgeous, man. My God, I don't know why nobody ain't put babies in her, man. I don't understand. Like even the eldest daughter, I think the eldest daughter used to date Big Daddy Kane back in the day. Big Daddy Kane was very woke back in. Big Daddy Kane was my favorite rappers of all time, but he was very woke back in the day. And I think he was dating Atala, or how you say Atala, how you said, y'all know, please forgive me for the name slaughtering. Thank you, brother AJ, for the donation, for sharing the knowledge. We love you madly. But thank y'all for listening. I'm not looking at the chats too often, so you donating or whatever. I appreciate it. But another one of his daughters was a rapper that I met, that I actually gave the plaque to, the We All Be Lifetime Artist Achievement Award for both Malcolm and Dr. Betty. I presented to one of his daughters. I believe she's a poet and she used to rap back in the day. But all his daughters are very beautiful women. It's like they have very beautiful spirits, and they know. I just wish that the estate was better organized where they could capitalize I mean, we're in a capitalistic society, and folks are really taking advantage of their legacy, intellectual property. Because one thing about Coretta, once again, she got control of that estate. She made sure that it was organized where the King family would be compensated for the sacrifices, not only of Dr. King, but also of his family. You got to look at his brother, King, A.D. King was killed under questionable circumstances. He found floating, drowned, but he could swim, right? And his mama got shot at church. Oh, young Dolph, you need to leave Memphis. Well, Dr. King, mama got shot in Atlanta and Ebenezer Church at the Oregon by a Hebrew Israelite. Well, the young Dolph need to leave, man. It's dangerous in Memphis. Where you gonna run? You can't outrun death. When it's your time, it's your time. Maybe, maybe not, but choices. So y'all keep on talking about Dr. King mom was killed in church. I guess you should have left Ebenezer and never went to church. You see how that y'all got to stop repeating stuff like a parakeet or a mockingbird. You know what I'm saying? People say, well, you know, you do the same thing over and over and expect different results. That's insanity. No, that's called practice. I guess it is insane to practice because a lot of folks ain't great at anything. There's only a few people that's really great at something. It's because they do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. People like Michael Jackson, Charlie Parker. You know, Charlie Parker, they both were born August 29th. They Virgos. Virgos crazy. They are obsessed. But Charlie Parker said before he died on an interview with Paul Desmond on the radio station in Boston, which is online, Charlie Parker should have been a college professor. Man, had a brilliant way of talking, and he was a high school dropout, but he probably was the smartest person in every room he entered. Charlie Parker, but he said that he practiced for 11 to 15 hours a day for 4 years, and this is why he's Charlie Parker. Michael Jackson would, rehearse and perform thousands of hours, right? They said in order to become a master of something, you at least do something for 10,000 hours. You become a master. So imagine it like you Charlie Parker, you practicing 11 to 15 hours a day for 4 years. He could play where he farted. He could play, if he blew his nose, he could play exactly how he blew his nose. You know what I'm saying? That's how, we all got that ability, but how many of us got that focus? Now, if Charlie Parker had Pornhub or internet back then, I don't think he'd been practicing on that for 11 to 15 hours a day. He'll be trying to blow some other things. But anyway, but young Dolph, man, they put him to rest. His mortal remains yesterday. Like I said, why would he be buried in Chicago when all he loved was Memphis? Memphis was his lady. No disrespect to Mia J, but Memphis was his girl. He loved Memphis, or Memphis was his mama. Memphis raised Dolph. Listen to his song, Anthems for Memphis. Some people saying that where he killed that Airways Boulevard should become Young Dolph Boulevard. I think they should change the name to Young Dolph. Or Adolph Thornton Jr. Boulevard, but Young Dolph Boulevard, I like it better. But Young Dolph, the way he got killed, it was an assassination. It was no, people want to make it like some hood stuff. No, that hood, they were cool with Young Dolph. That was his hood. That was his kingdom. Young Dolph was a king. He was a Leo. It's like Nipsey Hussle was a Leo. What happened to Nipsey was not just no regular street stuff. It was sweet and street stuff. It was the sweets dictate what happens on the streets. The sweets, something like the upper level, the white collar criminals. Like y'all worry about the low down petty criminals, but the real criminals live in the best zip codes, the richest zip codes in the country, where all the real criminals live. Like you think about what happened to Eric Gartner, right? He got killed over some Lucy's, right? Selling Lucy cigarettes in front of a store. But you know that the biggest criminals in Staten Island got the biggest homes in Staten Island. I'm talking about the mafia people. I'm talking about mob bosses. There was a Gambino crime boss. I think he was Gambino. One of them got killed a couple years ago by some nobody. Nobody killed him in his home. Some of the biggest criminals live in Staten Island. Mafia guys, they got the biggest homes. But Eric Gardner get killed over some Lucy's, right? But you got crime bosses living in Staten Island. But one thing, I don't know, it was Gambino crime family, but one crime boss was killed by some white boy, a nobody. It was no, it might have been a mob hit, but they act like it was just a dude killed them over some woman or something. I don't know, but y'all can look it up. It's out there. Out on tabloid papers they got in New York, they cover it. But I'm not gonna look it up right now because I don't feel like it. But yeah, you get killed anywhere. Oh, we got run away. Yeah, it will make it silly. They want you to run away. Young Dolph was buying foreclosed homes in black neighborhoods for a reason, because Memphis is big on construction and real estate. These white boys love real estate and construction down here in Memphis. That's why they can't never fix a road right. The potholes is a conspiracy. They put like, you know, cereal to fill up the potholes and it'd be messed up another time. Like they constantly work on the same streets for years at a time. It's because everything is about corruption. That's how you make your money. It's not about the cure. It's about the symptoms. It's about treating the symptoms, not finding the cure. Dolph was about being solution oriented, but he was buying up real estate in Memphis. He had a lot of real estate. And like I said, real estate is big down here. You understand? But black folks want to run away from the projects. They knock down the projects, right? Next year, they're building condominiums and shit, luxury apartments that you can't afford. You used to be able to afford. You was in Section 8 right there, right? Now you can't afford to go back to where you're from. Then move you out, like East Memphis. That's our thing. Move out east, the suburbs. That become the ghetto. If you're a black person used to growing up in the projects for generations at a time, you ain't used to cutting your grass. You ain't never had a yard before to cut, to maintain, the manicure. It's called a project for a reason, a social experiment. And you know, like in Chicago, they name, or anywhere really, they name projects out of prominent black people, like the Ida B. Wells project. You think Ida B. Wells would be okay with that in her name? The social engineering of her people like that. And Ida B. Wells from Memphis, by the way, of Holly Springs. Now, Ida B. Wells was ran out of Memphis at 29 years old. They ran her out of here. If she ever came back to Memphis, they would have killed her on the spot because she was a truth teller and she was ride or die. And you had brothers in Memphis that wanted to protect Ida B. Wells. They wanted to die for Ida B. Wells. But she said, I don't want y'all to, you know, lose y'all lives over me like that or make your kids bastards and stuff. I'm just going to leave. And luckily, when they destroyed her newspaper office, she was out of town. But here's the thing, Young Dolph assassination is up there with Dr. King and the people grocery lynching that happened in Memphis back on March 9th, 1892. Why do I say this? Because really, this is about economics. The Young Dolph killing was about economics. It's about money, power, respect, economics. Yeah, you say it's street stuff. America history is a gangster rap album. It's always street stuff, but it's always sweets. The sweets, I'm talking about sweets, you know how sweets, S-U-I-T-E-S. I ain't talking about sweets like candy, but I guess it's just like candy. But you know, the sweets control the action in the streets. They the puppet masters, the executives. See, that hit was Young Dolph was a boss. He was a boss. And there's a reason why, if you look at organized crime, you cannot hit a boss without consent from the commission. You cannot do that because it caused a power vacuum. Dolph was feeding a lot of people, not just his rapper. He was feeding folks in the community. He was giving money, investing in businesses. Dolph was doing things, and now there's a power vacuum. It's kind of weird that we always, as a society, want to eliminate the givers. But the selfish people get to stay around and get worshiped. But the people that give and give and give don't get nothing. Nothing but contempt. Don't get a pass. But you know, when we're going to get rid of the guy that give us everything and invest in us. That's why, like, when John Gotti did what he did, you know, John Gotti killed his boss, right? What was his boss killed at? In front of a steakhouse in Manhattan. Oh, we can't live there. We can't go to steakhouse because they're killing people at steakhouse. See, this is how you stop living in fear. John Gotti hit his boss, Paul Castellano, in front of a steakhouse right before Christmas. December 85. Was it 85? I don't care. Look it up. But he did not get the permission from the commission to do that. And John Gotti was, he was not the best boss. He craved attention. He was like a media whore. He craved too much attention to be an effective boss. Carlo Gambino was praised for being arguably the greatest crime boss or mafia boss of his time because he was discreet. He kept a low profile. Carlo Gambino never became an American citizen. He came to America back in, I want to say December 19th, 1921. Carlo Gambino came to America from Italy. He died in his 70s in his bed peacefully as an old man. Never got citizenship status, but owned all this real estate, controlled construction. He owned politicians. He owned the police. Never got citizenship. Now that's the American dream, right? Man came over as an immigrant, never got his citizenship. Back in December 21, died peacefully in his bed decades later. Arguably the greatest, mafia boss of his era. But the problem with him was he didn't pick the right successor. Paul Castellano was a white collar guy. He didn't like getting his hands dirty, but he was not respected by a lot of people in the family. People like John Gotti, Della Croce. They wanted Della Croce, right? You look at the Gotti movie, that's John Gotti's mentor. He was the underboss. People wanted him because he was more of a street guy, throwback old school street mob guy. They just loathed Paul Castellano, but Paul Castellano was making the family money. He was turning illegitimate money to legitimate money. And you notice with white people, they are allowed to start off in crime and grime and to legitimize their fortunes. Lucky Luciano once said, behind every great wealth, there's a great crime. White folks are allowed to come through the grime and the gutter to do the dirty things and to profit off of them and to legitimize those things. You look at white folks, a lot of times they don't encourage, when they come through the crime stuff, they don't encourage their kids to follow their path. They want their kids to legitimize the family name, become a lawyer or doctor or a politician or somebody that's legitimate. You don't want to be illegitimate. We want to legitimize the family fortunes. But black folks try to do it, they kill us. We can't. It's like what Chris Rock said in his joke, if cigarettes were made by black folks with jerry curls from Mississippi, it'll be illegal as an MF for they have a cigarette. See, Young Dolph, I don't know, Young Dolph, he wasn't in life at one point, but he was trying to turn that corner and legitimize his stuff for it. He was trying to create generational wealth. He did, create generational wealth. He did get investments. He might have been investing in cryptocurrency. I don't trust when people say this is like somebody's actual net worth. I don't trust all that. Forbes magazine, they be getting it wrong. A lot of these places be getting this stuff wrong. But I believe Young Dolph was worth more than $3 million. You look at his real estate investments. I don't know what else he could have had a lot of cryptocurrency he was investing in. I don't know. But the man was not a dummy. That's why I would like to know what his teachers thought of him at Hamilton High School. I heard one teacher from middle school speak out about how great he was. I know one of his neighbors who was like family to him said he should be a school teacher. He should go back after he get through with rapping and teach the kids. He had charisma, but he gave money back to Hamilton High School. My mom and her siblings went to Hamilton High School. And I remember when I was substitute teaching at Hamilton High School, that Bill Gates came to visit with his wife, Hamilton High School, with the school superintendent at the time, Kreiner Cash. And people were excited because like the kids thought they would be able to meet the world's richest man at that point, Bill Gates. But you know what they did? They had Bill Gates walk the hall with the principal, superintendent, and select students, special students. And everybody else was on lockdown. They told us to stay in our classrooms, lock the doors. So they walking around. Bill Gates is really short. He's not tall as people think he is. He's short. His wife's short. Lily pushings and shit. But I remember the class clown telling me, Mr. Ron, we ain't good enough for Bill Gates. I said, no, I ain't there. I just think it's wrong. That's so they don't let the kids interact with the world's richest person so they can be inspired for inspiration. You can't do no talk. Why you bring them here and treat us like animals in zoo cages? And I did a blog about it. I did a video about it. It's about 10 years ago. And I thought it was despicable. But young Dolph came from Hamilton High School. It's like he was gone by the time I was substitute teaching at Hamilton. But I'd like to know, what his teachers thought of him. Did they see him? Did they try to classify him as slow? He wasn't slow. He was very smart. If you look at how how he did things, man had a plan. So it'd be interesting to see what they had to say about Young Dolph. Because it was a white guy that was teaching at Hamilton. I don't know if he's still teaching at Hamilton, but he's been there for a long, long time. This white guy, it's like a Christian conservative guy. He's been at Hamilton teaching science since the 80s, I believe. So he saw the whole change of how the students became different over time. But I don't know. I think he thought he was on a missionary thing, trying to educate and tame the savages. I don't know. But I don't think he's still there. I mean, if he's there still, it'd be almost 40 years. But anyway, and kudos to him, he's still there, but he probably was there when Young Dolph was there. Yeah, he actually was there when Young Dolph was there. But I don't keep touching with people like that. So, but Young Dolph loved the community. He's not buried too far from Hamilton High School. He's over in Calvary Cemetery. And I would say he is the king of Memphis. They say Elvis, why not Young Dolph? Because Young Dolph actually repped Memphis, especially South Memphis. But Young Dolph, let me get back. It was an economic hit. I put it on the level of MLK. I put on the level of the people grocery lynching. All happened in Memphis. The people groceries lynching. You had Thomas Moss, who was A.L.L's best friend. She was the godmother to his daughter. And his business associates, William Henry Stewart and Calvin McDowell, were murdered by white people because they had a successful grocery business called the People's Grocery Store in what is now known as South Memphis. They were trying to defend their store from a racist white man named Barrett, who had a store across the street from their store, but their store was more popular and more financially successful than his store. Because not only did black folks go to their store, but white folks, everybody went to the People's. That's why it's called the People's Grocery Store, I guess. And the white man didn't like the competition, so what he did, he got a white mob together to try to destroy the store. And what they did, Thomas Moss and McDowell and Stewart, some of their buddies came to defend the store. You had black men with guns came to the aid of their brothers or their brethren to defend against this white mob. So they were getting the best of the mob. They shot into the mob. They wanted what is now known as, I guess, police officers, but they was plain clothes, but they was not acting like police. They was acting like lynchers. So I guess to keep the peace, which I thought it was a mistake, they turned themselves in, turned their guns in. Now he had the Tennessee Rifles, the Tennessee Rifle Association, or the Tennessee Rifles, group of black men. It was a black militia. They went to the jail to protect them for about 2 nights. They went to the jail because they thought that the white folks were going to get together and lynch these black men. So they went there for 2 nights with guns to protect the men. They found out that the white men were going to make it, the ones who got shot. So they left, which was a big mistake, because the following night, the white folks came into the jail without any problems to kidnap Thomas Moss, Calvin McDowell, and William Henry Stewart, and took them to a field in North Memphis by the Wolf River and the train tracks and lynched them. Calvin McDowell, his face was blown off. They put big 4 holes in his face. Right eye blew out. There's holes. You can put your fist through his face in several spots. William Henry Stewart, they messed his face up. Now, I want to say, according to accounts, depending on what count you got, Thomas Moss told the men, the white outcome, the devils, the demons, he told those demons, look, I got a young family. I got a child on the way. Can you spare my life? They said, we cannot spare your life. Do you have any last words? He said, tell my people to go west because there is no justice for them here. So they shot him. They lynched all these guys. Their crime was just being successful black men. That's it. Having a successful grocery business. And then the white man, Barrett, brought their store for pennies on a dollar. Nobody ever went to jail or prison except for the black men who were trying to defend the People's Grocery Store that night when the lynchers came, the white rioters came. So people say, well, the judge was in on it because when the jury did sentence those guys to prison time, he thought it was too lenient. And he went off on the jury and threw them out the court. That's what the Judge DeBose, did. And 6,000 black folks, including A.L.L, left Memphis in a few months after that happened because A.L.L printed his last words in her free speech and headlight newspaper and she encouraged black folks to leave to go west. And they ran Ida B. Wells out of the city because she kept on trying to investigate what happened to those men and trying to find out who actually was behind the murders, the lynchings of her best friend Thomas Moss and Will Henry Stewart and Calvin McDowell. You also know March 9th when they killed Biggie too. March 9th, 1997. But anyway, that was on a Wednesday night, a Wednesday morning, March 9th, 1892. So they killed those black men for economic reasons. Dr. King led speech, not that far from where I'm at right now, it's down Crump at Mason Temple. He advocated that black folks should support black businesses. He said, boycott Wonder's Bread and Hart's Bread and Coca-Cola. They'll take your money, but won't give you jobs. And he said, invest in black insurance companies, black businesses. So he was talking about black economics. He was talking about, doing a poor people campaign to share the wealth and all that stuff. And they made sure they brought him back to Memphis to kill him. Because Dr. King already knew that he was a marked man. It's like young Dolph. A lot of them guys knew that they were going to die young. Young Dolph knew he was a dead man. Yeah, don't make no money. He didn't know he was going to get killed at the cookie store, I don't think, but he knew that his life was not that long because I'm going to get into that, but like even Dr. King, Dr. King told his people that I won't make it to 40. Dr. King died at 39. Dr. King knew he was at President Kennedy's. He saw the President Kennedy's funeral procession in D.C. The secretary of the SCLC and future Congressman Walter Fauntroy was next to Dr. King's side. He said that Dr. King told him while they were watching the funeral procession of JFK that if they could do that to a president, I won't make it to 40. So Dr. King knew he was already. All of them thought that he'd get killed at D.C. during the Poor People campaign. See, the government could not afford Dr. King to make it to D.C. with all the dispossessed. They have over 1 million people there, not just black people, but people from all walks of life, so-called Native Americans, former Klansmen, poor white people from the Appalachian. They all there, 1 million plus strong, to disrupt business as usual. They wasn't there like Minister Farrakhan was 6 years ago. You got a permit and you do a demonstration on a Saturday when everybody's at home on the weekend, when government is not in session. Dr. King was talking about disrupting everything until they get the check that won't bounce. And the government could not afford that simply for the fact that we was already overextended in Vietnam. And resources were being put elsewhere. So imagine, because Dr. King, once he brought them people there, he could not control those people. Because you got to even go fast forward back to 5 years ago in 1963. One of the concerns of the March on Washington was that the Big Six could not control the black people. The Kennedy administration was afraid that things would get out of hand. Because really, like what Malcolm said, it's a farce on Washington, because really was no revolutionary stuff. It was just it was a parade. It was a rally. It was not a protest. It was a parade, a rally for jobs, increase the minimum wage type of stuff. So it's funny how they just reinvent the narrative every time. It was not what people thought. It was not revolutionary. It was just a parade. They had permits. DC was a sundown town. You Negro get job black. You know what's out of here by so-and-so time. So they had to be dispersed by a certain time. So the Kennedy administration and the powers that be controlled that. They were the puppet masters. They controlled the suites, controlled the streets. See, it's not the other way around. And Malcolm, listen to Malcolm's a message to the grassroots. It exposed the whole thing. He lays it out. The power brokers and how they select the Negro leaders and what the thing was really about. One of the greatest speeches of all time. He did that speech November 10th, 1963 up in Detroit. The message to the grassroots. I listen to it annually. And y'all should too. If y'all love Malcolm, this way y'all say y'all love Malcolm, I doubt it. Just listen to that speech. That speech not even an hour long, I don't think. It's like maybe 90 minutes or an hour, I don't know. But it's a great speech. So 5 years later, King was the toast of the town in 63, right? He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 64. But 5 years later, King is being character assassinated by the media. He's one of the least admired people in America when he died. So King was out of favor by 68. But King was becoming more militant and radical because he was listening to people like Kwame Ture, y'all know Stokely Carmichael. And he had a lot of respect for the young guys like the H. Rap Browns and the Stokeleys and the Fred Hamptons. You know, Dr. King did that housing movement he did back in '66 in Chicago. Got ran out of Chicago. You know, he said Chicago really was worse than Philadelphia, Mississippi, where they killed 3 civil rights workers at. And that's saying a lot. Because Philadelphia, Mississippi, to me, is still spooky to go down there. Even in the daytime, it's spooky. To me, black folks acting scared as hell down in Philadelphia, Mississippi. I'm just telling the truth. But it is a deep thing. But Dr. King was killed over economics. They didn't care about, like he said, what good is to integrate a restaurant when I can't afford a hamburger? What good is for me to be able to sit at a stool? I can't afford what's on the menu. So anytime you start dealing with the economic infrastructure of this thing, that's when they come for you. So Martin Luther King was a marked man. Because really, civil rights is really BS. I'm gonna be honest. How can you be civil when they don't respect you as a human being? To me, it's more like you just being pacified. It's a pacification of black power. The civil rights BS. But anyway, waste of a lot of good people. Dr. King figured out too late, you know, we integrated into a burning house, and then we turn around the corner, they shot him in the face. So that was economics. The people grocery lynching was economics. Young Dolph was economics. Not just what y'all keep on thinking there's some street stuff. It's street stuff, but street stuff is orchestrated by the sweets. The sweets orchestrate or puppet master control the streets. You understand? Why did they call Mayor Daley Gangster Daley? This man was the mayor of Chicago. Well, he had a killing machine that he controlled. Before he became mayor, he was a gang leader. Why is it that Mayor Daley could become mayor of Chicago, but Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover can't become mayor of Chicago? See, the problem with us is like young Dolph, the problem with these kids getting hit like this, we don't got no real OGs, no street, we don't got no commission. You know, we always love this mafia stuff, but where's our commission at? Where our OG, the real one? I ain't talking about the fake one. I ain't talking about the one y'all think. I'm talking about real cats. They got a code. They got some type of code they follow. There's no code. Because Young Dolph, Nipsey, even Triple X, Tekashi and Pop Smoke, if you had real people that were OGs and had a commission, you had to get permission from the commission to hit people like that. You see, like, you know, Young Dolph and them guys should be protected like how the mob protect Frank Sinatra, how they protect the old Blue Eyes. There were a lot of times, if you read the history and you talk to people that know, that Frank Sinatra should have got hit. They should have clipped Frank Sinatra. But there's always some OG dudes step in, don't clip Frank. Like they're seeing one of those movies, Rat Pack or whatever, and somebody was in Sam Giancana ear, Momo, the boss of Chicago. Hey, man, you know, Frank promises this and stuff, and the Kennedys ain't doing what they supposed to do. Frank did this, and he should get clipped, man. And then the Sam Giancana moment of silence, he said, nah, don't clip him. I love the way he's saying Chicago. It should be somebody that can say, man, Young Dolph, this. No, man, don't clip him. And I love his son get paid, man. Like, you know, we don't help people like that. We could have had people like that. Like I said, Jeff Ford, Larry Hoover could have been mayor of Chicago. Shit, Mayor Daley was in, you know, he wasn't Mayor Daley. He was known for mispronunciating stuff, like I just did, I guess. He was like a Joe Biden. He couldn't pronounce things right and all this stuff. Shit, Jeff Ford was functional illiterate when he helped Nixon win Chicago and win Illinois. You know, Jeff Ford got an invite to party with Nixon at the White House. And he was functional illiterate. And yet he was able to swing Illinois for Chicago, just like how Sam Giancana and the mob swung Illinois for Kennedy back in 60. He helped swing it for Nixon back in 68. You know, and Jeff Ford, Black Pink, Stone Nation, and Fred Hampton Sr., they're trying to work together, and the government came between them. See, the Black Messiah movie is interesting, but you got to understand the cat that played Fred Hampton, Dane Kaluuya, great, and the brother who played the snitch O'Neal, right? Lakeith Stanfield, they in their 30s. Man, Fred Hampton was just 21 when they killed him, man. He wasn't even a Black Panther that long. He was a Black Panther maybe for a month and a year. I think he became part of the Black Panther Party November 68. If I'm not mistaken, then they took him out of here December of 69. Because it was a guy named Bob Brown that was really the founder of the Panther Party in Illinois. He was a former SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And he left it because he felt like it was, I got to interview him I got to reach out because Mark Clark's sister gave me his contact information. I got to interview him soon. There's so much stuff been happening, man. If you don't understand, like nobody knows my troubles, man. Like this to be doing this, and about fentanyl, I got to feed the people, but it's so much stuff deeper than y'all know. But like if you let Hollywood control your narrative, you'll never know. Go beyond the Hollywood narrative, because like I said, Frank Hampton was just 21, man. They were spying on him since he was 14 years old. His mama used to babysit Emmett Till. So his mama deal with all this tragedy in her life. You know, you babysit Emmett Till. Then your son is Fred Hampton, seeing look what happened to him. And you found that your own government did this. Like Dr. King said, the greatest purveyor of violence on the planet is my own government. So that their own government is killing them. When your government kill your leaders, how can you trust your government? When your government kill your leaders before they reach their prime, why do you trust your government? Why do you pay taxes to this government? Why do you think they ever gonna do the right thing by you, even if you vote their way? Why do you think they even count your votes? Why do you think they even care? All three hits, Young Dolph, MLK, and the People Grocery Lynchings were all about economics and black folks being able to control their destiny through economics. Young Dolph was an independent artist. Young Dolph had a deal with a record label for distribution, just like Master P had a deal with Priority or Cash Money or whatever. They had these deals with the majors to distribute their stuff, but they control their intellectual property. Young Dolph was printing his own money. Young Dolph is in the same class as Sam Cooke and Otis Redding. You know, like when Nipsey is interesting. Like that was an economic hit. Y'all should read the book Confessions of an Economic Hitman. It's not dealing with hip hop, but it show you how they send people around the globe to disrupt people's economies, make them dependent on what they're doing, destroy people's economies, ways to make living, and to control their resources so they become dependent on another power. Create banana republics out of sovereign entities. But anyway, Young Dolph was independent. Like when Nipsey, I didn't really listen to Nipsey. I don't listen to Nipsey now. I respect Nipsey Hussle and what he was doing, but as far as his music, I don't listen to it. I didn't listen to it before he died either. I knew of Nipsey. I was aware that he existed. I knew that he was one of Lauren London's baby daddies, but I wasn't really a fan of his music. Now with Young Dolph, I am a fan of his music. And actually, I was introduced to Young Dolph outside of Memphis. It was cats from Memphis that tell me about Young Dolph. I didn't know who Young Dolph was. I've been living in Memphis most of my life, but it was cats in Baltimore and Ferguson and other places that were singing the praises of Young Dolph. And I started listening to Young Dolph, and I've been a fan ever since that time. But what made me even more of a fan now is that what he was doing in terms of his business, how he controlled his business, his music, and also how he invested in the community, which is unfortunate. That's why I don't do the bashing of celebrities anymore. People want to bash Oprah, and you have your reason. You bash. I don't know what people are doing. Like people don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of stuff that people don't know I'm doing. I ain't gonna tell everything I'm doing. Why should I? But I'm doing things. But it's people doing stuff behind the scenes. Everybody got their lane. But I'm not gonna be bashing people from now on, like especially rappers. I don't know what they're doing in the community. And like you only find out what people like Nipsey and Young Dolph is doing when they die, which is unfortunate because that means they're doing it for the right reasons. They're not looking for the camera. They're not looking for publicity. They're doing it because they care about their communities. So look at Young Dolph. Young Dolph is 36. 3 plus 6 is 9. Y'all know that's the number of completion, right? Sam Cooke got killed in 33. At 33, excuse me. He got killed in 64. See, December is like an interesting month for Black Messiahs. He got killed in December 64. Sam Cooke. Otis Redding got killed in December 67. Both of these guys were about controlling their intellectual property, but also it was about putting other Black artists on game. Like Otis owned his own publishing company. If you don't understand, Otis wrote "Sit on the Dock of the Bay." He wrote "Respect," the song that Aretha Franklin made her an anthem song, her signature song. He wrote that. He controlled it. That means he's trying to get other Black artists to get more involved in their publishing. Don't let these folks pay you one time a flat fee for recording in the studio. Write your songs, control your publishing. So, people think Otis Redding was just 26 years old, which is hard to believe because you look at Otis Redding, he looked like he almost 40 years old in his late 30s, but he was just 26 when he died. But Otis was brilliant. He had an old soul. He had soul. Sam Cooke was 33. You know, and Sam Cooke trying to encourage people like Fest Dominoes and Lloyd Price and other cats to control their publishing and distribution. And he thought he controlled his destiny. He found out that his manager and partner, Alan Klein, double-crossed Sam Cooke. And before he could correct it, they killed him in Watts in L.A. Alan Klein also messed over the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. There's a reason why the Rolling Stones don't like to play their early hits, because the Alan Klein company, APCO, they get most of the money. So Alan Klein is also the reason why the Beatles broke up. And to this day, they control Sam Cooke's catalog, because even that movie One Night in Miami, they had to get, they one of the producers on it, APCO, Alan Klein's company. Alan Klein died of Alzheimer's, I believe, complications back in 2009. Jewish guy, Jewish accountant from New Jersey. Really, Alan Klein was like part of the Jewish mafia, allegedly. The mafia does run the industry. Y'all do realize that, You remember the Bronfman family? They used to control Universal Vivendi. The Bronfman family created Seagrams, and they used to bootleg with Al Capone and Joe Kennedy and all of them. Bronfmans, Seagrams, Canadian Jews, they used to be partners with Joe Kennedy and Al Capone, had their stuff distributed through America and during Prohibition. But they used to control Universal Vivendi. But Alan Klein, I mean, he was eating off the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, but he ate off Sam Cooke first. So this stuff's so deep, man. But they killed Sam. But if he died today under the same circumstances, because the coroner inquest said it was justifiable homicide, they would put Sam as a Me Too president along with Sam Cooke and Bill Cosby. They always got to make the black man the boogeyman. Everybody knows Sam Cooke was murdered. They should know. But it's worth looking at. But economic hits. Young Dolph, they said some guy got on live, alleged artist at Paper Route Empire, Young Dolph's record label. He said that Young Dolph worth like $100 million, that he'll try and get a partnership deal with the record label that distributed his music, Empire Records, a guy named Ghazi. I guess he's a Middle Eastern guy, Ghazi. I don't know what the hell, And allegedly, Young Dolph told him if something happened to him, put this out and let him know like what was going on behind the scenes and all that stuff. Did Young Dolph have enough power, juice to do that? He probably did. Because like according to the guy, he said Young Dolph was very scared at how much he was able to make so much money in a short little period of time. And he was printing his own money basically, because like he turned down a $22 million deal allegedly, walked away from it. It's like people thought he was crazy, but he probably made all that money back in a short time and then some. So why would he cap himself? It's like you look at the NBA, it's really sad. Like I look at LeBron James. LeBron James, they are limited in how much money they can make in the league. They're making the league, these players are making the league billions and billions and billions of dollars, but they are capped. Why are you capping LeBron James? If he make you this much money, he should get more share of the profits. Because it's funny. Last year, we had a pandemic. They had it was last year. It's like we had so much had happened in a short period of time. It's like it's been years instead of months. But when the Lakers won the bubble games, like they had the bubble NBA playoffs down in Disney World, whatever. I was reading the article. People saying, well, all these leagues are losing money. But Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, Bill Gates' business partner and buddy, he made billions and billions of dollars last year during the so-called pandemic. He didn't lose money. He made money. Like people said, this is like some of the largest transfer of wealth in the history of the world happened last year. Rich man games, rich man trick. Scheming. Making pain off of other people's profit. Come on, man. But LeBron and them can't make only so much money, but y'all making billions and billions of dollars, even when the league is shut down. People say, well, why would they want them dead? You make more money dead than artists make more money dead than alive. You got to think about it. It's easier to control a dead person than it is to deal with a live person. Let's say the artist is a diva. I want this. I demand this. Well, if you're dead, you're not demanding too much of anything. We could take your image and license it. We could take your music, your creative property, and license it. And we don't have to have no pushback or feedback from you because you're dead. We could do anything with your image. We could make holograms appear of you at concerts, and people pay all this money. That's what I'm saying, man. Like my mentor, Jegna, I hate word mentor. Jegna, Mr. Abel said, nobody dies a natural death in show business. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. Nobody. Is that this song? I struggle and strive. I'll never make it out this world alive. I'll never make it out this world alive. You ain't gonna get out of here alive. So y'all worry about, man, he shouldn't be over there. I said, they could kill you anywhere. They kill you in church, they kill you at the cookie shop, at the steakhouse. they got Dutch Schultz, like Dutch Schultz, the guy from Hoodlum movie. They got him at the steakhouse in Newark. He should stop eating steaks because they could kill you anywhere, man. Kill you at the movie theater. Read Operation Northwoods. They wanted Kennedy to approve something where the state would create false flag terrorism acts like shooting up movie theaters and blowing up buildings and blaming on Cuba. That's what Operation Northwoods was about. And Kennedy told them, no, this is crazy. We're going to destroy and kill our own citizens and our own property and blame it on Cuba? No, we ain't do that. Kennedy had to go. But it's so much stuff to talk about. But yeah, but the young Dolph thing is just like what happened to Sam Cooke and Otis Redding. Otis Redding, according to James Brown's son, y'all can look this up on YouTube. James Brown's son was interviewed by Oliver Stone's son, of all people. And kudos to Oliver Stone for the JFK Revisited thing. If y'all are a fan of truth and of thought provocation, Oliver Stone did a great job in 2 hours to show you the issue with the Kennedy thing, how it really was an inside job, hands down. It's on Showtime, JFK Revisited. And you got people like Whoopi Goldberg doing some of the narration, also Donald Sutherland. But it's well worth 2 hours of watching. But Otis Redding supposedly had a deal with James Brown to do distribution of black music. And look what happened to Otis Redding. I think James Brown tried to warn Otis, you don't need that type of plane. Don't fly on planes, man. I think it said that James Brown tried to warn Otis not to fly the plane that he ended up flying on, that he owned, that Otis owned. And it cost him his life. Because the only person that survived that plane crash was a guy named Ben Colley, who was a trumpet player for the Barcades. He was original Barcade, and he stayed with the Barcade for decades. The new version of the Barcades. Great trumpet player. And the crazy thing about him surviving that he couldn't even swim. Somehow he was able to survive the icy waters of Lake Momona. I think it's Lake Momona in Wisconsin. That's what they say. I don't know. Y'all just look it up and say, well, Brother Ron said the lake name wrong. I can't trust Brother Ron. Okay, fine. Let's look it up. But he survived by holding on to a seat cushion in them icy waters. Because, they got a picture of Otis Redding frozen to his seat, in the morgue. And they published it in Jet Magazine. I guess because if we could publish the face of Emmett Till, we could publish Otis Redding frozen to a seat. Or he is, you call it rigor mortis in the seat. Man, that's why I don't care for censorship. Because I want to know the truth. But I said Otis Redding had $10,000 in cash on him in a suitcase that went missing. Like the people who pulled him out the lake, they found the suitcase, gave it to the authorities, and it went missing. Nobody can account for what happened to that suitcase. $10,000. He made $10,000 in cash just back in over two nights. Back in December 1967, a police officer's salary back then in that part of the country, I guess, would be $5,000 a year. So this dude had $10,000 in a suitcase after performing just for 2 nights. And it take a policeman back then to take a whole year to make $5,000. So I guess that's why it went missing. Even when they bust drugs, a lot of them drugs and stuff don't go back. A lot of the money they seize, the drugs don't always make its way back to the station. You know that, right? Anyway, you should know that. But it's also interesting. Let me see some. I'm doing good on time. I think I touched on everything, even though it's like I don't touch on everything, but I touched on everything. Getting back to young Dolph, there was not no street stuff. I know y'all think, that young Dolph stuff, what remind me of? Is a couple of shows that come to my mind. It's this movie called Street Kings. You ever seen Street Kings? I think it's a good movie. Keanu Reeves and Forrest Whitaker. That's a movie y'all should look at. And like it talks about police corruption in LA, and all this stuff. And it's the scene where Terry Crews in a grocery store, in a corner grocery store, the gas station store, or something like that. In one of them hood stores, convenience stores, and they lit his ass up. It was a hit squad. And we found out they were police officers going around killing folks. But like it was a hit squad that came in because he was like a whistleblower cop. He was just minding his business. They came in there and lit his ass up like a Christmas tree. That will remind me what happened to the young Dolph in the cookie shop. It was a hit, professional hit. Because we really don't know how many gunmen were at the scene. Because I remember, if you want to keep it with the young Dolph stuff, a good place to go, and really the best place to go, is you got to follow the Cussing Pastor, Thaddeus Matthews, on YouTube. He has some of the best information on young Dolph and what's going on with the case, and also because he got police connections. And he's a great investigative journalist. I know people will go there for, oh man, he cursing people out. He's a pastor cussing folks out. But get beyond that BS, right? Get beyond that. Look at the stuff that he's putting out. He's been on it. Like he was the one that really broke the story about young Dolph having his funeral, a private funeral at First Baptist on Broad Street. Everybody else was saying Chicago, this Chicago. I said, what they getting this information about Chicago and Chicago that? Young Dolph is Memphis, man. Chicago, he was born in Chicago, but he was made in Memphis. He Memphis, he belonged to us. But he one that broke that on that. He the one told about a lot of things, putting out suspects and all that stuff. Because what the news is doing, like Channel 3, for example, they putting out information, but they're not making connections. I think they were told by the investigators and police, y'all can put certain things out, but don't make these connections right now because we're still working on the case. We don't want to expose what we got. But that is got connections to the police department, put out some good information. And I respect Thaddeus a lot. I actually gave him a We All Be Lifetime Achievement Award back in 2015. And on my YouTube channel, we interviewed Thaddeus Matthews, went to his offices and interviewed him. He's an interesting guy. He's not a stupid guy. He knows his audience well. That's why he acts the way he acts. He got a great mouthpiece. I mean, he's a pastor. He just know the game, man. But get beyond all the foolery and all that stuff and look at the meat of what he's saying. Put out a lot of good information about the case. But like, okay, let me see something. I'm talking loud. People, Brother talk so loud. I put something in your mouth, but I want to put something in your head instead of putting something in your mouth. So that's why I talk loud. Yeah, I just want to show this picture. I think it's interesting. Kyle trying to make the connection. Why is Monica coming to young Dolph funeral? Cause I don't know any songs they did together, but Monica is connected to C Murder. I had no idea. I knew that young Dolph was connected, or that he was inspired by No Limit music from back in the day, in particular C Murder. I had no idea they had a relationship, actual relationship in terms where young Dolph was sending this man money and taking care of his kids, which is interesting. And I just want to find the Instagram post I saw that my sister Mo Cindy sent to me about their relationship. This is crazy, man. You just never know. Just never know. If I can find that post, but Monica, she was my favorite. I think she's so underrated, man. Monica is an amazing singer. But it's funny how things work, man. How certain people get pushed over others. It's interesting. Let's see if I can find this. Okay, I'm gonna read what C Murder said. This has been attributed to C Murder. I guess this is Instagram account or something. Lisa Jackson, publicist for Corey Miller, C Murder, releases a statement for Corey Miller about the passing of young Dolph. Words cannot express the way I feel right now, how I felt when I heard Dolph died. This wicked world don't know they lost a real one. I had to write a tribute. I couldn't just sit here and not tell the truth. I had to do this tribute, a song to tell the world about Dolph and who he was to me in the community. Dolph was a friend. Y'all don't even know how he came through for me and my family. Dolph put money on my books, checked on me every week, checked on my spirit, and brought my children Christmas gifts. He even tried to buy my daughter a car, but she didn't have her license yet. I'm dedicating this single. I don't want to go outside to a real one, a friend, and a soldier. Rest in heaven, Dolph. We're going to miss you. Corey Miller, aka C Murder. So that's, I mean, all this stuff is coming out, man. And Monica is connected to C Murder. I think she worked with Kim Kardashian, tried to get C Murder out of his situation. I think, and there was an issue with Master P. People saying, why P didn't help his brother? But P, he a Taurus like me. We give all the time. We always helping family. We loyal to family. And sometimes it costs you when you loyal to family, like the way a Taurus is loyal to family. But anyway, but yeah, she was there. 2 Chainz, paid his respects. 2 Chainz actually went to the site of the crucifixion of young Dolph and took pictures with his people. I don't know if Memphis folk. I mean, I thought, NJ Ford, they shared those pictures from NJ Ford. Some of the pictures been out in the media and social media. That's the funeral home that took care of young Dolph services and his body and stuff like that. And NJ Ford they normally do a great job with the bodies. They do a great job for the most time. When I think about young Dolph's style, it does remind me of C Murder. His style remind me of Silk the Shocker with C Murder mixed in. It's like it's above a little bit. I like, and people used to complain about Silk the Shocker rapping off beat, but it's unique, man. I mean, sometimes people strange. It's like I meet people that call themselves jazz students, jazz musicians, and they want to sound like Charlie Parker or Miles Davis. That's great, but do we need another Charlie Parker? Do we need another Coltrane or Matt? We need somebody like you. We don't know what you really sound like, because they teachers be teaching them wrong. Like they don't even know. I said, y'all musicians, but are y'all really jazz musicians? I mean, I know y'all can play My Favorite Things and Kind of Blue and all that other stuff, like so and so. But who are you? I want to know what you sound like. And Young Dolph, like one of the cats, man, it was like a World Star Hip Hop documentary that's worth looking at about Young Dolph. Gucci Mane is featured in it. It came out about 4 years ago, right before he got shot in Hollywood 3 times in the stomach, and after he got shot at in Charlotte 100 times. And one of his believers, one of his guys, he was sitting on, I think it was in his Maybach or something. He was a cool guy. OG had a grill. He was saying, man, sometimes when he rhyme, it don't rhyme, but it's him. It makes sense. Something like that. He's like, sometimes when he rhyme, he ain't rhyming, but it's Dolph, it's him. And my thing is, it's not about, there's music out there for everybody. It's not about trying to play pretty notes all the time or make things sound pitch perfect. It's about expression. So you got to bend notes and break things. And, it's all about how the way you do it. It ain't what you do. It's the way that you do it. And Dolph, like I said, I didn't really listen to Nipsey like that. I listened to Dolph. Dolph is great. And then you look at his production, the people behind him, the beat selection, and what he do. I even got a greater appreciation for Key Glock now. I really was a Key Glock fan like that, but Key Glock, he got his thing. I like it. He kind of reminded me of a mix between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. He said Young Dolph was Phil Jackson, but to me, he's like a Scottie Pippen guy. Like he's like got a lot of versatility in his flow. But anyway, I ain't no run listening to stuff. I listen to it. But Young Dolph was an interesting guy, and it's unfortunate, man. I just hope that they solve this crime. This robbed the people of Memphis of something really special. And like I said, it's not always the streets y'all want. It's not low level like that. Also, yeah, I talk about the Street King scene where Terry Crews was lit up. It's another thing that reminded me of what happened to Young Dolph is that scene in The Sopranos, the last season. I love The Sopranos. And like when Bobby, the bodyguard for Junior's bodyguard, Bobby, the big guy, I think his name is Bobby, right? He was at, he loved train, like toy train. He had a huge toy train collection. And he was at the toy train store. And Tony and them said, man, look, we at war with the New York family. Y'all lay low. Don't be caught lacking. He ain't say it like that, but he was saying, man, look, watch your 6. Don't be out there just casual. We at war with New York, So Bobby went to the toy train store, then them cats came and lit his ass up. He got killed over toy trains. So did Young Dolph actually just get killed over cookies? 2 lemon and 2 strawberry butter cookies? Or is it deeper than that? Because Bobby just didn't get killed over no toy trains. He was just happened to be in a toy train store. He was a creature of habit like everybody else. Young Dolph had a schedule, routine. We all got schedules and routines. He go back. I love talking about organized crime history because, Dutch Schultz, who was hit at a steak shop in Newark back in October 23rd, 1935, he wanted to kill Thomas Dewey, who was the DA up in New York. He wanted to kill Thomas Dewey. He went to the commission, said, we got to take care of Dewey. And they actually considered it. They actually considered killing Dewey. So what they did, they sent Albert Anastasia, the head of Murder Incorporated, future boss of the Gambino crime family. They sent him out to see if it could be done. So he started, following Dewey around, getting an understanding of his routine. Now, and Albert Anastasia was hit in the damn barbershop at the Sheraton in New York. So he got killed in the barbershop. So I'm trying to get y'all to understand you ain't safe from death anywhere. Stop this bullshit. We got to move away. No, you have to move away. You got to invest and just be aware. So he was killed at the barbershop. So, Dutch Schultz was killed in the damn steakhouse in Newark. He was killed in the barbershop in New York in downtown Manhattan. So he went following Dewey around. He told the commission it could be done. And then Lucky Luciano said, don't do it because it brings too much heat on us. But Dutch might have had the right idea about killing Dewey because, Thomas Dewey ended up taking out Dutch Schultz, not Dutch Schultz, but Lucky Luciano, white slavery. He got, gave him 30 to 50 years in prison. And it was a black woman that gave him the blueprint to take down Lucky Luciano. The beautiful sister, Eunice Carter, was the woman. She was a black woman that gave her boss, Thomas Dewey, the blueprint to take down Lucky Luciano. So maybe Lucky should have went along and got Dewey hit. Dutch tried to warn him, you need to get, this guy's going to be trouble for us in the years to come. He told him something like that, and Lucky says, be too much trouble to do because we don't hit police, which is a lie. Because the mob killed Joseph Petrosino. He was the first Italian police officer in New York, or he might have been the first rank Italian police officer in New York. His name was Joseph Petrosino. He was killed trying to, he went to Italy trying to find the leader of the Black Hand. He was looking for a guy named the Wolf or something like that. The Wolf. They killed him over in Italy, but he was an NYPD officer. But his name was Joseph Petrosino. And it was a movie done, a biopic was done by him decades later. I think Ernest Borgnine, who lived into his 90s, Ernest Borgnine played Joseph Petrosino, the hero cop who was an Italian-American cop who took on the mob. But the mob killed him. So lucky to say that we don't kill cops. He was an honest cop that day. He was going after the mob, the Black Hand. But he was looking for a guy called the Wolf. And they killed him in Italy. But I think Joseph Petrosino was actually born in America, if I'm not mistaken. And he left behind a wife and a young child, Joseph Petrosino. So they already killed, and they killed the mob allegedly killed the police chief down in New Orleans, Chief Hennessy, excuse me, like the drink Hennessy. He said his last words, accordingly to them, was that a Dago shot me. That's a slang for Italian, derogatory term for Italian. The Dago shot me. So one of the largest lynchings in American history were Italian merchants down in New Orleans. Back in the 1890s, HBO did a movie about it. But one of the largest lynchings in American history was Italian merchants. Now, New Orleans, New Orleans is also the home of the oldest mafia family. The oldest mafia family in America is in New Orleans. I'm talking about Italians. So people assume it was New York, but now it's New Orleans. But anyway, I'm going off tangents, but yeah. So young Dolph, like everybody, was a creature of habit. But now I noticed with the Makita's cookies, with the internet is undefeated. Like really, the sleuths, you Sherlock Holmes is on the internet streets. Y'all doing y'all interesting job. I see the donations are slowing down for Makita's cookies. They had a goal of 150,000. It's like they was well on their way to 150,000 in donations on their GoFundMe. But since all these allegations and stuff been leaking out, things have been slowing down, which is interesting. Things have been slowing down for Makita's cookies. And they could barely, I only think they got 90,000 at this point. So, I mean, it shows you the power of social media. That's why it's important that we don't let them censor censor social media out of its effectiveness of illuminating things for the people. So I think it's very important. I mean, it's just everything's allegedly with me, but there's been a lot of folks been dropping dead in Memphis. It may or may not be connected to the Young Dolph thing, but it's interesting. It is very interesting to ponder. Let me see. Stop, let me see what else. Oh yeah, the comedian who got killed. I want to talk about that a little bit. I might drop back to the Malika Shabazz thing. There's so much stuff to talk about. Yeah, it's a busy time. I had to jump on here because I'll be busy for a couple of days, but I'll try to upload some. I don't need no folks calling me right now. I'm doing a live show. People didn't call me late. Not even looking at the chat room right now. Y'all enjoy yourself in the chat. I'll look at it later. If you have been donating through the chats, we love you madly. I can't see a lot of things. I'm back here. So everything ain't showing up for me in y'all chat. So I apologize. I don't recognize if you donate. But I'm not going to talk about it on the phone right now. Let me see. It's like time going slow, though, which is interesting. Yeah, this cat D Money right here. And that's Young Dolph, but D Money's in the blue. Young Dolph is in the red. So read something what I found out and then give a quick commentary on what I think about the situation. Quick commentary, but I'm gonna read a little bit. Let me see. Reading is fundamental. Yes, it is. For the Bible told me so. I think, yes, I know. Okay. What did it say? Dissing the dead. Comedian Darian D. Money Childs, who joked about Young Dolph's death, killed in Memphis days after mocking rapper. Okay. A comedian who joked about rapper Young Dolph's death has been killed days after mocking him on Instagram. Cops confirmed Darian D. Money Childs, 21, died in Memphis, Tennessee on November 23rd after they responded to a shooting. Wow. Shortly after news of Dolph's death hit the internet, Darian D. Money Childs appeared to write on Facebook, "Man, them folks just killed Young Dolph. I love Memphis because we so gangster," with laughing emojis. This post has since been deleted, but was captured by the entertainment outlet Say Cheese TV. In a separate Facebook post, Child said, "Man, cuz if you ain't from Memphis or if you ain't the police, just quit trying to solve Young Dolph murder. These folks done came and locked my grandma up." Cops found 3 victims as they responded to a shooting on November 23rd. Childs was killed while a woman suffered non-critical injuries and a man was uninjured, according to cops. Police say no arrests have been made as the investigation continues. Childs had over 16,000 followers on Instagram. A woman who claims to be a friend of the comic wrote on Facebook, "Damn, this hurts like a MFer. My dog. Damn, man. Damn, I'm hurt. I'm speechless. This F up. Darren D. Money Childs, rest in love and peace, baby." Another woman who claims to be Child's cousin wrote, "I'm just hearing my little cuz was killed this morning. When is this madness going in? Keep my family in y'all prayer. Darren D. Money Child, rest in heaven, cuz, rest in honor." Dolph, whose real name is Adolph Robert Thornton Jr., 36, was gunned down at Makita's Cookies in Tennessee on November 17th. Maurice Hill, the owner of the shop where the shooting happened, told Fox 13 his employee said Dolph walked into the store to buy cookies. The owner then claimed that someone drove up and shot and killed the rapper at roughly 1 p.m. He also told WREG that the star was hit while he was buying cookies. In a chilling Facebook post uploaded just one day after Dolph passed, Child said, "If the news don't post me as a Memphis legend when I die, then they hate it." Okay, so I want to read on that. Words create worlds. That's all I gotta say. Worlds create worlds, man. You speak this stuff into existence. Both these guys gone too soon. D Money and Young Dolph gone way too soon. Gotta be careful what you speak into existence. Yeah, but and then interesting that the people that he was with, they were not really injured. So he was targeted. So that sounded like a hit to me. But who did it? Who knows? But he got what he wanted. He wanted to be spoke about, and he got worldwide coverage. He became world famous in an instant. But yeah, but like, people tell me to stop the killing. I said, we in a killing machine. Ain't gonna never stop until we stop being in a killing machine. This is a killing machine. Everything is a blood sacrifice, big or small. Everything's a blood sacrifice. So D Money, he got what he had coming, unfortunately, because he created an atmosphere for that to happen. Your words create worlds. Words create worlds, and he spoke that into existence. So what I'm trying to tell Black people is that we are powerful beyond measure. Because really, you can't make an excuse that racism is holding you back. I'm just tired of getting old. I be hearing older Black people, older than me, talking about, it's racism. I said, Young Dolph was a statistic that made it. Both of Young Dolph's parents were what they be called crackheads. They both were they was addicted to crack. Both of his parents were addicted to crack, raised by his father's mother, grandmother Thornton. And look what he was able to do before he left out of here. He was able to help his family create generational wealth, make a difference while he was here, and he's a legend. He did his thing. It's not always about quantity, it's about quality. So what is your excuse if you want to do something? Just do it. Like Nike say, y'all like the word Nikes. I don't care for Nikes, but if their logo the slogans, just do it. If you keep on making excuses, why not just do and see what happens? Young Dolph did it. What was the blueprint for him to do it? He just did it. He made the blueprint as he was going along. Dick Gregory made the blueprint as he was going along. Just do something. Bunchy Carter used to say, if it's just spitting, do something. If it's just to spit, just to, for every action, universal law said for every action, there's a reaction. Just do something to see what happens. Keep moving, do something. But with the brother D Money, I'm sorry that it happened to him. But it is what it is, man. Clout chasing can be a deadly profession. But at the same time, what he said was not worth his life. That's ridiculous. I know Judge Joe Brown be saying, sometimes like, Judge, what you talking about? Judge Joe Brown is running for mayor. He said, I want Memphis to be like Chicago. I said, I don't know, Judge. So if we get to the point, in Chicago, you dish dead people, drill rappers and all that, they killing folks over dishing the dead. You disrespect the dead in Chicago, they're gonna kill you. I don't want that to be a reality here in Memphis. We can't just, jokes. You're not only canceling people, you canceling people. You talking about some cancel culture? Man, you say the wrong joke, but that's not rare. The people out there is unusual. You go to other countries, they kill comedians all the time. I remember I read a story in Afghanistan. This Afghani comic that's very popular. They killed him. I think they killed him on social media because he told the wrong jokes. The wrong people did not laugh. The wrong people, excuse me, I said that right. I'm saying he told jokes that some of the people that he was making fun of didn't find funny. How about that? Because it's getting late right now. But yeah. I don't know, but there's a lot of people dropping dead. Like it was a brother that got killed at the Oak Court Mall. It was crazy because he got shot while he was holding his 9-month-old son. He was just 21 years young. He was just 21. Holding his 9-month-old son. He was shot at Oak Court Mall on Poplar. And that's crazy. But here's the thing. Some people have been making the connection that maybe he's related to the Hill family that owns Makita's Cookies. That he's an alleged relative of the same family that own Makita's. Like that's the Hills, Maurice Hill and his wife, Mrs. Hill. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's interesting to think about because Evidently, this is wanting to kill this guy. They didn't want to rob him. They just shot him several times. And his baby is fighting for his life. Hopefully, he'll make it through. But what I'm saying, I think it's interesting. There's a lot of things happening in Memphis that the local media is not really making connections. But if you go online, like Thaddeus Matthews and some of these other people out here, they're kind of connecting the dots. And they doing like background checks on the hills and stuff. I mean, trust me, you do background check on me. It is what it is. Credit screwed up and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm not ashamed of none of my stuff. It's a life. America is in debt. Donald Trump didn't believe in paying his workers or contract workers. America never believes in paying his debts. Ask black people, foundational black Americans, descendants of slaves. Have we ever got our reparations? No. So America don't believe in paying nobody. Why should, whatever. But anyway, people go real deep into it. But my thing is, the most important word is alleged or allegedly. I don't want to get caught up in this BS soup, but you got to start using your magic glasses, because I heard audio played on Thaddeus Matthews' show that a woman said that it was not only just a white Benz that pulled up, but it was an SUV behind the white Benz with guys dressed in black like a hit squad. And then she changed her story a little bit, but I said, so what really happened until they released the police have not had a press conference that told what's really on that tape. There's tape out there. They got video surveillance cameras all over airways. Matter of fact, there's a police precinct up the street, not that far from what happened where they killed young Dolph at the cookie shop. There's a police precinct right up the street. So really, if somebody could have called and let them know, they could have probably, tell or somehow got on the tail of that white Mercedes and caught them guys that day. But it is what it is. People in shock. You're not expecting when you go pump your gas or go to Family Dollar to help somebody hear somebody get shot up 50 times. You don't think they're gonna be a part of your day. So, like I said, I don't believe young Dolph thought he was getting killed that day at the cookie shop. I do believe young Dolph knew that his life may end young, and he was getting prepared for that. And then the stories of the owners, like the owner, Maurice Hill, and Tammy Sawyer, one of our politicians, I think that was disrespectful when she said it was a black woman-owned business. Now, it was the man, he owned his co-owner, his name after his blood niece, Makita. A blood sacrifice? Young Dolph blood sacrifice? I don't know. But I'll keep on thinking, I know, to me, young Dolph he had to come up there for more than just 4 cookies. Like, he just came up there just for 2 lemons and 2 strawberry butter cookies. Could he send one of his underlings to run that errand for him, an errand boy, to get that for him? Was it necessary for him to show up for just 2 lemon cookies and 2 strawberry cookies? Or was he a silent owner in Makita's? I don't know, because based on what people been pulling up on the internet, they doxing the hell out of Makita's people. From what I see, they had a lot of debt. So was he a silent partner helping them behind the scenes? And he's there to talk business or something like that? And like I said, he loved his community. He loved his hood. He loved it. He loved that area. He loved helping. Based on the stories I read, he was the type of person that would go around. He had like over $60,000 in his pockets, just giving out money. If he had an idea for a business, he'll just give you some money on the spot, something like that. Maybe I heard they say 60,000 or 600,000. Wow, he a skinny dude, so I don't know where he could put that money at. He was a skinny guy. But he had a tapeworm or something. He couldn't gain no weight. Well, he was eating them cookies. But good for him, but not good that he's dead. But I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to find out if he was a silent partner. Some of that stuff would make more sense if he was just coming up there like that. It's a lot. My thing is so much mess. It's like, I understand when he like to be by himself, because majority of the time I'm by myself. I don't like to be around a lot of people all the time. I don't mind being around a lot of people. A lot of times people, there's too much confusion. Even folks that folks say they have your back, they don't know what they're doing. A lot of times people just be in a cloud. Like with Tupac, he had bodyguards, he still got killed. The problem with Tupac was his bodyguards wanted to be stars too. You saw how they was like over in Italy. They walking down the wrong way with Tupac. They looking at the cameras like, man, you supposed to be the bodyguard. You supposed to be focused on protecting and securing the prize, keeping the prize safe. You over trying to pose with like Tupac, trying to meet the celebrities. You're not doing your job as a bodyguard. Young Dolph should have had somebody that was watching his 6 and all this other stuff. He should have had some guys moving with him. But a lot of times it's an inside job. You can't trust your own guys. A lot of people think that Huey Long was killed by his own security guards. His own bodyguards shot him up. And the Dr. Carl Weiss didn't even have a gun on him. They put the gun on him. They took it out the car and put it on him. You know, but Huey Long was finished off in the operating room down in New Orleans because he was a threat to Franklin Roosevelt. That's another story. But a lot of times, look at Kennedy. Those Secret Service guy was at the strip club the night before he got killed. Then they secured the buildings. Why are you gonna go down a path where there are high-rise buildings that y'all have not secured? You got all them secret. Then his driver, William Greer. William Greer was not even from America. I think he was born in Ireland or something. He was an old man at that time. He was old. He driving his car. He paused like he's striking a pose, like he voguing. Then they delivered a kill shot. When he heard them gunshots, he should have been speeding for cover, heading towards that overpass and out of sight. But he slows down. So some people believe that he turned around and shot Kennedy. I don't know. I don't think he did that. But it's like he pausing for them to finish him off for that kill shot. See, you know, people like Malcolm, your bodyguards ain't body checking nobody. You go to a Farrakhan event, you gonna get body checked. Farrakhan ain't having it. You will get metal detected and body checked. Want to be proud, brother? You know, I was fun. Like I joke with somebody. I said, "Hey," the people said, "All religions to me are cults." Nation Islam, that's a cult. I said, like, let's say you go in a room and he said, "Hey, Muhammad," and 100 dudes turn around. They ain't a cult. "Hey, Muhammad," 100 people. Which one? They ain't a cult. I don't know, but I'm not religious like that. I'm spiritual. But anyway, I'm just saying. I'm just cracking jokes, folks. But I got cousins that's in the nation. They run temples and stuff. But and I got people in my family Mason, Prince Hall. They were. One of them was a Mayfield. They said he was the one who led the Prince Hall Masons throughout the country. He used to live in Chicago. Can't help who you related to. So I don't get in all that crap. I don't have no problem with secret societies either. I think there should be black first secret societies. You know, we got Boule that protect white people interests. We need a black Boule, black power Boule, a B1 Boule for black people. They look out for black folks. Don't need to know who they are. Don't need to know how they meet. They just need to get shit done behind the scenes. I believe in that. I don't know. But they not, you know what they messed up at when they did them interviews, they should have talked to a lawyer or somebody like that, because they told too many different stories. Like the father had one story, the daughter had another story. I heard that there were relatives of young Dolph that worked in the bakery. I don't know where, but I mean, it's just like the plot thickens, you know. But what I'm saying is, I believe young Dolph was betrayed by somebody close to him. No matter how much good you're doing for the people, it'll be somebody that's always gonna be dissatisfied. It's like it's very Shakespearean. What you got to ask yourself is, who benefits from the removal of the king? Who benefits from the removal of Dolph? Like the people don't benefit from like the people he was helping, the people in the community or the hood, they don't benefit. You know, we lose out as fans in terms of music, whatever. But who benefits? It's not always who you think it is either. Because like, you know, even with the young Dolph thing, it's interesting. You think about the first two times that we know that he got hit. That was back in 2017. The year before his debut, his official album, because he did mixtapes for years. He did a lot of mixtapes, a lot of classic stuff, like Preach and all that stuff came out before his official album, King of Memphis. That came out in 2016. Then 2017, that's when he got the shootout, or he got his SUV shot up 100 times in Charlotte. That happened in February 2017. Then in September of that year, you hear him get shot 3 times in Hollywood, point blank. And luckily he survived. He ran and got into a building for cover. He's able to, I understand, got to the hospital 2 weeks after getting shot 3 times in the stomach. You can see after 2017 that scar running down his stomach when they did surgery. So that was 4 years ago, but they were saying that the van that shot up his SUV was registered to a black youngster who's a protege of Yo Gotti. You know, and then people know about the beef between Yo Gotti and Dolph. He talks about it in his song. Like he said, he had a song called I See Money on his Rich Slave album that came out last year. I see money. We talks about it in the opening lines, like hit him up almost. This big head dude, he mad at me because I screwed his baby mama. It was a misunderstanding, something like that. Y'all can look that up. He got some good stuff. But I don't know. There's the question. To know. Hopefully, like I said, like Dick Gregory say, pray for the truth to come out at noon. You know, it's deeper than people think. You know, because like we know who the shooters might be, right? You know, the internet is undefeated, but who are the shot callers behind this? Who called the shots? Who called this play? Because really, that's a dead man's play. Like I said, Dolph was a boss. And to hit a boss like that, you got to have a commission that okayed that. If you do that in another way, to me, I wouldn't even take no hit like that unless I was down from cancer or something like that. Like I had some like incurable disease, I got a death wish. Ain't no way you could send me out there in broad daylight to hit somebody like him. There was no neighborhood stuff. Yeah, they found the car in Orange Mound, but young Dolph from Castellia, over there by Hamilton High School. My people from Bunker Hill, you know, we got our neighborhood name, all this stuff, but it was nobody from that area that did that. Yeah, I actually interviewed him. I got to get him back on the show. I'm glad you brought him up. He's a good brother, good white brother from Baltimore, but he does great work. And you look at some of his documentaries online. People got to understand that the government is invested in controlling entertainers and entertainment. Like what Malcolm X said in that Berkeley interview back in 1963, these people are court jesters. They're not there for be revolutionaries. And even Baba Dick Gregory said entertainers are not going to change the world. It's the people that change the world, not entertainers. We're just there to distract and deflect. But John Potash, he does a great job. Read his books and look at his documentaries. And there's a thing called Operation Mockingbird, where it proves how the CIA is deeply invested in controlling the media, as well as social media. You don't think Google is the government? The government is Google. Google is the government. You know, 60 Minutes, their top consultants are CIA connected people. I remember just several years ago, it was this 60 Minutes journalist who died in this weird car accident. He was working on a big story at the time. I don't think it ever went to air, but I guess it could have been a hit. It could have been a CIA hit. Just like the journalist who got killed in Los Angeles. You know, he wrecked this Mercedes allegedly high speed. You know what I'm talking about? That exposed that General McChrystal over in Afghanistan. He did that big Rolling Stone story about that. Then the next thing you know, he driving a high speed down a street in LA and his car explodes. Now, Dick Gregory said that was actually a drone that killed him. This is back in 2013, right? Obama was known as the drone ranger. He was known for sending drones out to people to kill them at weddings. And they actually killed this father and son who were American citizens. They killed them without any type of due process in another country because they had a website that was, you know, anti-American, I guess. I don't know. Why are you going to drone kill them? It's something. What I'm saying, just look all this stuff up. I know I ain't getting everything on point, but these are stories. You could Google this up. This actually happened. The journalist got killed. They had the Rolling Stone article. That happened in 2013, like in June of 2013. It's always an inside job, man. Like I said, the Secret Service, they allowed Kennedy to get killed like that. They controlled his itinerary. They controlled the route that he went down. Why would the Secret Service allow Kennedy to go down a street with high rises that have not been secured by the Secret Service or law enforcement? That's weird. They got open windows, nothing been secured. You can't, and people think, oh, it was Lee Harvey Oswald. How is it a dude? Lee Harvey Oswald was just 24 years old, right? How is it this dude was able to defect to Russia and come back with no problem with a Russian wife? This is at the height of the Cold War. This is right before the Cuban Missile Crisis. This dude was able to leave America, denounce his citizenship, and go to Russia and come back with a Russian bride with no problem, with no suspicion, because he was military intelligence. And also Oswald was an asset to the CIA and the FBI, and he was a patsy. He did not fire a gun that day. He was not on the 6th floor when they say he was on the 6th floor, because he had witnesses at the book depository that worked there. They did not see Lee Harvey Oswald coming down those steps like he's supposed to if he had shot the president from behind. He did not fire a weapon that day. They went to the funeral home and they fingerprinted him. They put his fingerprints on the weapon. They put his hand, they put a dead man's hand allegedly on the so-called assassin, a weapon. That's how they got their fingerprint. If anything, they did a paraffin test. What paraffin? I think they call it test where they test for gun residue. Didn't have none of that on his hand. But yet, this is not common knowledge, even though you can go on the internet and find this stuff. But y'all still believe CNN and ABC and all these people. Dan Rather lied about how the president got shot. Dan Rather career took off after the Kennedy assassination. Dan Rather said the president got, then the Zapruder film showed that what he said was a lie. Even at Parkland Hospital, the spokesman for the Kennedy, President Kennedy said that the gunshot came from the front. The one that killed him came from the front. They would not even allow the doctors at Parkland to do the autopsy. It's Texas law to say the autopsy, people killed inside or died within the state's confines, the autopsies must be done in Texas. The Secret Service that's guerrilla pimp the doctors in Parkland. They just say, you big out the way, we're gonna guerrilla pimp. We taking this body, this carcass back to DC. Y'all won't be able to do an autopsy. See, if they had done the autopsy at Parkland, there would not be a lot of confusion about how he actually died and how many bullets were actually hit or sent at the president. Because what they took in the Bethesda Naval Hospital, now that's known as a Walter Reed complex. That's where they send you to kill you. You know, they did Kennedy's weird autopsy at Naval Bethesda Hospital, right? They also killed the first Secretary of Defense there, James Forrestal. He was the first Secretary of Defense. They threw him out the window on the 16th floor. They threw him out the window. It was a suicide. He had these drugs to make him hallucinate. Now they threw him out the 16th window. I think it was the 16th window. But they threw him out the building and they said it was suicide. That's the first Secretary of Defense who was not with the Zionist programming. You know, like it was Truman that recognized Israel as a state. And Forrestal, I think his name James Forrestal, did not want to go along with that. And also it's a UFO connection. There's also a Kennedy connection. Him and Kennedy, he was close to the Kennedy family, James Forrestal, I believe. Him and John F. Kennedy shared a plane ride to Europe or something like that. And Kennedy was able to look at the destruction that was caused by World War II. So also at Naval Bethesda, Senator Joseph McCarthy, he died at Naval Bethesda Hospital. He allegedly had like a knee issue, a joint issue. Next thing you know, he was dead. He was going in for a checkup for something. Then next thing you know, he's dead. And Joseph McCarthy, people think he was a bad guy. But there were communists in the government. He was right about there being communism in the government. There were communists. Over time, what he was doing was proven to be correct. But now how history remember him is that he was an evil guy. No, he wasn't an evil guy. He actually was a patriot in a lot of ways because he was exposing the communists in the government. And he also was a close friend of the Kennedy family. You know, Joe Kennedy, the patriarch, he loved him some Joseph McCarthy. He was a senator from Wisconsin. And he dated several Kennedy daughters. That's how much they loved him. He dated several Kennedy daughters. He also was the godfather to Robert F. Kennedy's first child, Kathleen Kennedy Townsend, who was a former lieutenant governor of Maryland, whose daughter and grandson was killed tragically in a drowning last year. They were killed in a drowning last year, her daughter and her grandson. But she was the goddaughter of Joseph McCarthy. Robert Kennedy got his first job in D.C. working for the legal counsel of Senator Joseph McCarthy. So y'all can look all this up. Take a look. It's all online. But I'm saying this stuff is deep. That's why Trump got himself out of Naval Bethesda Hospital, because he knew that's where they killed prominent people. Frantz Fanon, Wicked of the Earth. There's a Wicked of the Earth. Frantz Fanon. He died at Naval Bethesda Hospital. Yeah, Frantz Fanon died at Naval Bethesda. I think back in 1961, I believe. They say he had leukemia. Reagan, when he got shot, they were trying to take up the Naval Bethesda, but somebody had a quick mind, say, hey, why are we going to take up the Naval Bethesda when George Washington University Hospital is right there? They're trying to take him to Naval Bethesda to finish him off. Donald Trump was at Naval Bethesda. He got his ass out there soon. Then he said, "Well, man, I gotta get the hell out of here. They trying to kill me. Let me ride around this golf cart and say, hey, everybody, I'm fine. What color tie he had on?" He said, "I'm out of here. I'm good." He didn't stay at Naval Bethesda that long. What I'm saying, it's a killing. This is a killing machine. You know, y'all talking about, well, Memphis bad? No, I ain't Memphis. It ain't Chicago. Ain't that. It's just the nature of the beast. You in the killing machine. It's a killing machine. It's a blood sacrifice machine. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think he went far enough. That's the problem. And he was getting too close to comfort, you know, for a lot of people. You know, it's like the Rosenbergs, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, you know, Nixon and them, Roy Cohn, all that. They went out to them, they got executed. They were Russian spies. You know, their sons ended up getting raised by the guy, Abel Maripool, who wrote Strange Fruit. You know, that song that Billie Holiday made popular. The Rosenberg sons were raised by Abel Maripool, but they were spies. They were spies, and they got executed. So it wasn't wrong about that. Some of the reputation, I mean, I don't know, man. 50s are interesting to study. But let me see. Guess I could read. What else I could talk about? Oh, okay. Let me. Yeah, this is sad right here. Talk about this right quick. I think I'm covering everything I said I'm gonna cover in my title. That's what I'm working on. And I'm moving back and forth, but it is what it is. I want to talk about Clarence Avant and the loss of his wife and what that's really about. Yeah, I just stay safe out here, man. It's crazy out these streets. Yeah, I want to talk about that. Sad. Been married for 55 years, right? 55 years. Okay, I'm still here. So let's talk about Clarence Avant. I'm gonna read this article about the situation. Then I'm gonna do my commentary. Los Angeles. Jacqueline Avant, the wife of the music executive known as the Godfather of Black music, was shot and killed in the couple's home early Wednesday. Beverly Hills police responded to calls about a shooting at the home of Jacqueline and Clarence Avant at 2:23 a.m. They said in a statement. Police said the victim was taken to a nearby hospital by paramedics but did not survive. A spokesperson for Netflix confirmed that Jacqueline Avant, 81, had been shot and killed. Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos is her son-in-law. It is unclear whether Clarence Avant was home. Really? Potential suspects were not at the scene when officers arrived, police said. Jacqueline was an amazing woman, wife, mother, philanthropist, and a 55-year resident of Beverly Hills, who has made, not South Central or South LA, Beverly Hills, not South Memphis, Beverly Hills, who has made an immeasurable positive contribution and impact on the arts community, the family said in a statement read by Beverly Hills Police Chief Mark Stanbrook. She will be missed by her family, friends, and all of the people she has helped throughout her life. Investigators and forensic specialists were processing the scene Wednesday afternoon, Stanbrook said. All potential motives are being investigated, including a possible robbery attempt, he said. A lot of times people think of home invasion when it comes to robbing or burglarizing a residence, Stanbrook said. And so obviously someone went into the home. We just don't know what for, what the purpose was, or was the motive was behind it. So they didn't take anything, but they took her life. So that sounds like a hit to me. And they can't locate where her husband, Clarence Avant, the Black Godfather, was. I mean, he's 90 years old. Did he have Alzheimer's? Did he like to wander around? I mean, what? That's kind of strange to me. It's 2-something in the morning, right? When this happened, and they can't locate the husband of 50-something years. It appeared that a security guard was on duty, Stanbrook said. Investigators are collecting and reviewing video. I'm gonna read it again. They can't find Clarence Avant. Then it said it appeared that a security guard was on duty. Stanbrook said investigators are collecting and reviewing video. So what happened to the security guard? It appeared. Was he there for questioning? I mean, this don't sound right. I mean, it's like a hit. Jacqueline Avant, who was once model in the Ebony Fashion Fair, married Clarence Avant in 1967, and the couple had 2 children together. Their daughter, Nicole Avant, credited her mother with helping her keep her father balanced in the 2019 documentary, The Black Godfather. First time I ever heard this, brother. Well, they've been married for 52 years, and my mom is really the one who brought to my father and our family the love and passion and importance of the arts and culture and entertainment. She said in the film, while my father was in it, making all the deals, my mother was the one who gave me, for example, my love of literature, my love of filmmaking, my love of storytelling. She said her mother was the umbrella in her father's life. Serving as a manager, producer, and mentor, Clarence Avant has been credited as the influencer who helped launch the careers of some of the most notable Black musicians of all time, including Bill Withers. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, with Lionel Richie giving a speech honoring him during a ceremony. Richie called him a teacher and a master communicator. What he did for us, the sons and daughters of the Afro-American community, he was the one that brought us to some understanding of what the music business was all about, Richie said. Former President Barack Obama said Avant was one of his favorite people in a video tribute that aired at the ceremony last month. Clarence and others, they are really the bridge from a time where there was almost no opportunity to a time where doors began to open, Obama said. They led the way in politics, in business, in the arts, and saying, no, make room for us. Damn, that's unfortunate. But my friend will always say, Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., nobody dies a natural death in show business. So was that a sacrifice? Yeah, it was a sacrifice. It's like strange how that story is written. But they can't locate her husband of 50-something years, who's 90 years old. They didn't know his location or whereabouts when that happened around the time. Have they located him? There appears to be a security guard. Does a security guard appears to have a gun? What is that all about? That stuff sounds weird, but people just read it. They don't think nothing of it. Then you look at the connection. I mean, his daughter, their daughter is married to one of the CEOs of Netflix. It's a lot of power. Then they decided to put his story out there. I never heard of Clarence Avant. Now I said him, he's best friends with Obama and all these people, and he the reason for Lionel Richie and Bill Withers. Then you got to think about who made Clarence Avant, though. Clarence Avant was part of the Jewish mob. His mentor is Joe Glazer, who was mob connected from Chicago. He was part of the Al Capone mob, Joe Glazer. This guy who was a manager for Louis Armstrong and Billie Holiday and some other Black actors. He was the reason why the government went after Billie Holiday in a lot of ways. He put the people on Billie Holiday. He destroyed Billie Holiday. He blood sacrificed Billie Holiday, Joe Glazer. Louis Armstrong used to have a problem when he was younger with white gangsters trying to control his career. That was one of the reasons why he first went to Europe, to get away from the gangsters over here in America, because of trying to run his career and run him to the ground. You got to understand that like I said, the mob is always involved in the entertainment industry. They always involved. You had white gangsters killing themselves for the services of Louis Armstrong. They wanted Satchmo really bad, and it feels so good for old Satch. So he had to leave. I got to get the fuck out of here. He had to go to Europe to get away from these guys. Then finally, Joe Glazer came around. It's a story that Louis Armstrong told Queen Elizabeth, the second, the current Queen of England, when she was sitting next to, I guess, her husband, Prince Andrew or Prince Philip. His name, Prince Philip, right? Okay. They asked him how he got, into show business. And he said something to the effect. Now, Tony Bennett said he actually said this story in a couple other sources. He said, well, my friend Black Bennett, he was a pimp and a bass drummer down in New Orleans. I said, Black Bennett, I'm so tired of running around. I want to have a career in music, man. I really want to make it in music. Black Benny told me, he said, Louis, find a white man, they'll fight for you, they'll speak up for you, they'll take care of you, become the white man's nigga. He told that to the Queen of England. He said, become the white man's nigga. I choose the white man, I'll be his nigga. That's what he told the Queen of England. That was Louis Armstrong. But they tell Louis Armstrong, they don't give him no judge. Louis Armstrong was from the streets, man. His mom was a prostitute. His daddy was a trick. Some of our greatest figures in American history come out the whorehouse. Louis Armstrong, Richard Pryor, James Brown. Some of our greatest cultural icons, they come out the whorehouse. So it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, Joe Glacier used to run Louis Armstrong. Made him a millionaire, but he was a mob guy. He also made Clarence Avant. If you listen to Clarence Avant, that was his guy who brought him into the business. He worked for his booking agencies and stuff like that. So anyway, that whole story sounds strange. I'm waiting for the truth to come out. Like Bobby Dick said, pray for the truth to come out at noon. That story way was written. If you're a thinking person, you know something's weird about that whole story. And it happened in Beverly Hills. They've been there for 50-some years. Never had an issue like this. Maybe they had, maybe they haven't. You know, but it sounded it was just there to kill her. That the job was just to kill her. Or maybe Memphis Clarence Avant is missing or something. I don't know. Because the story don't imply that he's missing. They just know that they can't find out where he was at around the time this happened. Then it said it appears to be a security guard. Is it or is it ain't? Is it or is it ain't a security guard? So this is what happens when you used to hang around Dick Gregory a lot. Stuff started thinking. I'm not interested. Nobody dies a natural death in show business. Valiant Thor. I know about that story. I'm not gonna speak on that tonight. That's another. I mean, there's a lot of other YouTubers that covered the Eisenhower and the Valiant Thor story. That's supposed to be an alien that visited back in the 50s. You gotta get the world to not invest or divest out of nuclear weapons. Y'all can follow it. You know, is it true? It's quite possible it happened. That's all I gotta say. Well, let me read. Cuba Gooding Senior, he's passed away. See, there's so many people dead. I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting. Music is an interesting thing. See, you cast spells with music, you cast spells with words, and with Black people, we are special people. We're unique people. Black people have always been weaponized. As far as we've been this killing machine, we have been weaponized, not for our own good, but against our will sometimes, but also to our detriment. You know, everybody makes a profit off of our pain and misery. And with the music, I can look like my cousin Curtis Mayfield. You know, he did a lot of message music, like he did a lot of civil rights anthem music, but also he did the album Superfly. He did the album Superfly. You look at even like some blues stuff, they get really nasty and filthy. Like Robert Johnson got a song that says, squeeze my lemon and let the juice run down my leg. Or I need a jelly roll man or some stuff. I need a handyman. You know, they use subliminals and metaphors. You know, it's just interesting music. But my thing is this, is that with like Young Dolph on his last album, Talking to My Scales, he talking about making a deal with the devil and going to hell. There's always been a part of our music. There's devil imagery in gospel music. I mean, Lucifer was the master musician in heaven. You know, so devil gonna be, you got to deal with the devil. Like even that song, Umbrella song by Rihanna, that's about the devil. The devil is the umbrella man. So you dealing with that element in all the music. You know, my thing is, I keep on thinking about C. Dolores Tucker. Yeah, no, Tupac, and I'm a big Tupac fan, but how they just really was so against what C. Dolores was saying, and what she had said in the past is coming to pass about the music, how it's destroying Black people. If you look at the drill music in Chicago, you look at even this trap music, even with Dolph, man, you know, like the stuff he was saying, you listen to something. He even spoke about dying. I pray for my enemies because they'll do me like Kennedy. He said it in one of his songs. I prayed on the album Bulletproof. He didn't say it like that. I'm just saying, I'm paraphrasing when he said, I pray for my enemies. They're trying to get me like Kennedy or something like that. He talked about JFK, and he died on November 17th. JFK died on November 22nd. Then some of them key artists from Empire Records, like King Von and Mo 3, they died in November last year. And then you got Tentacion, who died back in June. I don't know his connection, but I saw a picture with him with Ghazi, the guy who runs Empire. He got a picture with him at Tentacion. So I don't know what the connection is. Maybe he was on that thing too, but I don't Illuminati, this stuff is real, man. But Dolph is remind me of, he had the Tupac energy where you look at, his last album, Illuminati, Paper Empire, whatever they call it. And then you look at Tupac's last album, the Illuminati, 7-Day Theory, the Don Illuminati, 7-Day Theory. And people quote Tupac saying when they told him about Illuminati, he said, man, kill that Illuminati stuff. Kill that mess. That's why he came up with Illuminati. But Illuminati means to illuminate. See, a lot of people don't want to be in the know. See, the people that's so-called Illuminati, they are in the know. They pull the strings. A lot of us don't want to know that these people actually exist. A lot of us don't want to know that in our bowl of cornflakes, there's a certain amount of roach eggs and rat hairs in our bowl of cornflakes that is allowed by the government. There are a certain number of rat hairs and roach eggs in our bowl of cornflakes that is allowed. Like people say, you love the sausage, but you don't want to see how it's really made. So this is where I'm at. I'm okay with looking at who's behind the curtains, who's behind the scenes. A lot of people get spooky. It's folks that get spooky about walking past cemeteries. I love going to cemeteries. I don't want to stay there. I just love going there, having my lunch, playing my trumpet or something. I just love spending time in cemeteries. I love reading people's stories, like what happened between the time they born and the time they left here. What's that dash about? Sometimes I'll Google people, see if I can find their obituaries or find out some more about them. And as I'm just a different dude, I don't move like everybody else. Like with Dolph, I can understand why he like to be alone, because it gets like, even when we talk about the young Dolph case online, it gets really messy because everybody at certain levels of understanding and thinking, everybody on a certain level, and they get confused and messy. But then everything's messy. Dealing with other people, being in a relationship with somebody, I don't give a damn how neat and orderly you are. It's messy dealing with people in general. It's just messy. People say I'll make there's no such thing as a good breakup. You can say, well, I guess doing this it's the best, and I'm gonna give you this and that. You still ain't happy. You still miserable. You still angry. Such thing as a good breakup. Never have been, never will be. But the young Dolph thing ain't no street stuff. Just there's the stuff people like to stop the killing people. Why? You know why they kill? Now you ate turkey. They had to kill the turkey. You eating chicken, you going to Popeyes, lying long out in the streets, they killing chickens. If you stop the killing, you won't have nothing to eat. Will? And people say, well, you eat plants, you killing plants to eat them. Some people are like, weird, man. This is strange. But I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna read one more story. Let's see. I covered everything. But Clarence Avant saying he was a product of the Jewish mob. The Jewish mob, they run entertainment. I'm talking about Bronfmans. Bootleggers turn into controlling entertainment. Look at Las Vegas, Bugsy Siegel. Look at Meyer Lansky, all them guys, Mo Dalitz. And I'm just naming names, but where's the black mob? Because we had a black mob. Young Dolph should have been as old as Frank Sinatra when he died, at least. Like I said, Frank Sinatra crossed a lot of people and rubbed a lot of cats wrong way, but he had the mob bosses looking out for him. They protected him. Cause even one, Willie Moretti, y'all for me. I like. I read a bunch about this organized crime. I think Willie Moretti, who was a mob boss on the East Coast in New Jersey, New York, he got killed at a restaurant. He supposed to have been having lunch with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, the comedians. Martin and Lewis, they had a comedy team. He supposed to have been having lunch with them. When he got whacked, they shot him in a restaurant. They killed him. They got a famous picture of a guy, of a police detective, laughing at him while he's on the ground dead. That stuff is crazy. This police officer looking at the camera and laughing at this, laughing about Willie Moretti on the ground. Because what happened to Willie Moretti? He testified before one of these crime commissions, and the boys, as they call themselves, the boys thought he spoke too much. He was talking too much. A lot of people thought because he was in an advanced stage of syphilis, so it started messing with his brain. So he started just spilling the beans on stuff he should have been talking about. So they decided we're gonna put him out of his misery. We're gonna light him up like a Christmas tree. So they got him at a restaurant, I believe it was in New Jersey, and he posted had lunch with Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. And I believe either Dean Martin or Jerry Lewis, they forgot about the lunch. Then they read about what happened in the newspaper. And they were glad they forgot about that lunch they supposed to have with William already. So you can't go to restaurants. I mean, I'm saying like y'all, we can't go to no cookie shop. Things happen in life. Even like when you out there driving, when I stop at a stoplight, I'm just hoping that the person behind me would stop and not stop into my car. That they actually stop before they hit my car. You don't know. You're taking a chance every time you breathe in. There's a chance something might go wrong. Anything can happen at any time. So you can't be afraid to live your life. So y'all don't send that message. Well, Memphis killed Young Dolph. Memphis didn't kill Young Dolph. Memphis did not kill Young Dolph. It was organized hate that killed Young Dolph, and that's everywhere. You got haters everywhere. But it was not just no simple like rival cookie store that took them out. You know what I'm saying? It's so much bigger than that. And a lot of times the authorities ain't gonna release everything. They ain't gonna tell you the whole story. Now they got allegedly the first 48 down in Memphis in here, working with Caroline Mason, the one who's like one of the all-stars on the first 48. She's working on the case, but I mean, maybe that's the reason why they're not leaking too much stuff out to the public. But I'm sure by now they know who the shooters are. My thing is who sent those shooters. For some reason, I don't think it's Soulja Boy, but at the same time, Soulja Boy can't visit Memphis for a while, if ever, because he put that 100,000 hit out there on live. You know what I'm saying? Like he put that, like it's like Farrakhan. You put out an atmosphere. You help create an atmosphere for this to happen. So no matter, this is gonna be a part of his obituary. No matter when he dies, that's gonna be a part of his obituary. Like Soulja Boy, known for controversy, he talked about putting 100,000 hit on Young Dolph, and several days later, Young Dolph dead. Plants are still alive when you cook them or eat them. I'll let y'all look that up. Thank you, brother Ari, for turning in. Love you, man. Yep. Okay. But he supposed to had that lunch with Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. They forgot about it. But I mean, they kill you anywhere. Kill you in church. Ask black people. Thank you for that. Yeah, lucky for them, they bowed out. They had many more years to do their thing. But I'm saying it's always been entertainment, always been mopped up. You know what I'm saying? Like it always been a mob presence in entertainment. Like I said, look at Frank Sinatra. Like it's a story about Willie Samuel Davis Jr. The mob took his eye out. It was no car accident. They took his eye. So Ari saying the plants are still alive when you eat them. That's interesting. After you even put them, like you steam them up or put them in the steamer or whatever, cook them, they still alive too when you eat them. Or if they are in a can and preserves, whatever, they still alive. I don't know. I'm just asking a question. That's interesting. But let me read this article. And my condolences to the family of Clarence Avant for the loss of his wife, Jacqueline. She was a great woman. What I saw from the documentary, she was like, what her daughter said, she was the umbrella, the person that really balanced her father out. So I don't know what happened. I just hope that the truth come out. But it sounds like a hit for whatever reason. And they said it appears to be a security guard on video. I was like, what that mean? Is that the security guard or is that the hitman? And where is Mr. Clarence Avant? Is he missing? So I mean, it's just questions that need to be answered. So I think I covered just about everything I wanted to cover tonight. That's amazing. Let me see. Like I said, I'm not really paying too much attention per se to the chats. Let y'all handle y'all like having a conversation. That's pretty interesting, but I'm just trying to get through the bottom of this stuff and call it a night. Yeah, nobody ever talking about Malika Shabazz. You know, it's unfortunate. Black media ain't really talking about. But what I'm gonna do one more thing. Like I said, I'm not against anybody because you folks, y'all getting y'all emotions. Brother Ron said this about Farrakhan. I'm telling you what Farrakhan said about Farrakhan as it relates to Malcolm X. You understand? It's not what Brother Ron said. This is actual factual. But I have yet to see anybody ask the minister on record, where were you at when Malcolm got killed? Exactly. But where were you at when you heard the news? That's just Malika Shabazz. That's the oldest, youngest daughter of Malcolm. She was in the womb when her father died. That trauma. Can you imagine dealing with that trauma from the womb? Her mom, a young mother, a widow, with 4 daughters and 2 on the way. And they all saw their father assassinated, her husband, their father assassinated 56 years ago. So we're going to, let's see. I guess y'all can hear me, but I'm going to read an article from the Daily Mail about this death. Malcolm X's 56-year-old daughter had been sick for some time with unspecified long-term illness before she was found dead at her Brooklyn apartment 4 days after 2 men were exonerated for her father's 1965 murder. Black civil rights leader Malcolm X's daughter, Malika Shabazz, had been sick for some time from an unspecified long-term illness before she was found dead at her Brooklyn home 4 days after 2 men were exonerated in her father's murder, police said Tuesday. That's a long sentence, ain't it? Malika, 56, was found by her daughter at her home in Midwood, Brooklyn at 4:40 p.m. on Monday. NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea said Shabazz had been sick for some time. They keep on saying that. So they're trying to convince us she's been sick, or they're just trying to make sure they get their story in our head. Had been sick for some time. They keep on repeating that. And the medical examiner's office is talking to family to determine if the undisclosed illness had something to do with her death. Okay, and it said the medical examiner's office is talking to family. Ain't that their job to determine cause of death? How are families supposed to determine cause of death? Ain't it the job of the medical examiner to determine that? And why they keep on saying been sick for some time if they don't know what the cause of death is? And why they asking the family when they not the medical examiner? Y'all wake up, man. Boy, they really dumbing us down with this fluoride. For this. We can't put 2 to 2 together. We don't still think that 2 plus 2 is 4. They really doing a job on us, boy. This is an idiocracy. We are investigating, and the cause of death is pending the final results of additional testing, but the death does not appear to be suspicious following initial review, the coroner office said in a statement. Really, this is retarded. I mean, this is unfortunate. We already know it's a cover-up. Malika never met her famous father. Her mother, Betty, was pregnant with her and her twin sister when he was shot dead at the Audubon Ballroom in Washington Heights in 1965. They showing her body like they did her father's body. Wow. They got pictures of her body being escorted out the premises. 3 men were arrested and convicted: Muhammad Aziz, Khalil Islam, and Thomas Hagan, who later changed his name to Talmaj Hayer, and then Muhaji Halam. Muhaji Halam. And he lives in Brooklyn under a different name. I mean, he lives in Brooklyn peacefully with a family. That's the guy who actually was one of the shooters who said the other 2 guys didn't do it. All 3 spent decades in prison before being paroled. Aziz was released in 1985 Islam was released in 87, and A.L.L was released in 2010. Islam died in 2009 in Brooklyn. Okay. Last week, a judge vacated his conviction, and that of Aziz, ruling that evidence was held back at trial that would have led to an acquittal. A.L.L, who has never denied the killing, remains convicted. After Malika's death, the daughter of fellow civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr., Bernice King, tweeted her condolences together with a photo of Malika and her twin sister Malak being held by their mother, Dr. Betty Shabazz. I'm deeply saddened by the death of Malika Shabazz. My heart goes out to her family, the descendants of Dr. Betty Shabazz and Malcolm X. Dr. Shabazz was pregnant with Malika and her twin sister Malak when brother Malcolm was assassinated. Be at peace, Malika, King wrote. Malika didn't comment on the exoneration of her father's convicted killers before her death. Another of Malcolm X's daughters, Ilyasha Shabazz, supported it but called for a new trial to bring the true killers to justice. However, the likelihood of finding her father's true killers is slim. A recent Netflix documentary that revived interest in the case and included FBI interviews did not reveal who police think was responsible, and police were previously implicated but never arrested are now dead. Yeah, how convenient. That Netflix article really left some things to be left desired by folks who know. I was just you all check out the works of the brilliant scholar Zach Kondo. Check out Zach Kondo, Z-A-K Kondo. I think it's C-O-N-D-O, Zach Kondo. I could be wrong. Full justice would not be served until all parties involved in the orchestrated killing of our father are identified and brought to justice, she said. But the family was told the passage of time would make retrying the case all but impossible. They're gonna talk about. Okay. We're gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna talk about they talking about her past and all this other stuff. Okay, y'all go Google this stuff. I ain't gonna talk about it. I ain't gonna get into all that because here's the thing about that. They killed her father. The government took her father. And I told you, we know who killed Malcolm X was government. Hell, his chief bodyguard, Gene Roberts, was NYPD undercover. It's government. John Ali, the national secretary for Nation of Islam, who was interviewed in the documentary, he was FBI asset. He controlled communication between Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad. Government, FBI, NYPD, government killed Malcolm X. Normally, Malcolm X, we had 3 dozen bodyguards, or not bodyguards, 3 dozen police officers will be present at the Audubon when he'll do his rallies at the Audubon. And they all were scaled back. There was no police officers really present in a way like that until he got killed or shot up. They didn't really and they said they want, what about the dude that's living in Brooklyn? He said he's one of the shooters. Why did I talk to him about who was else involved in organizing his people to kill Malcolm? Because the government did it. It's like, it's just weird. Then they ain't saying we're going to ask the family how she died. I said the family waiting for you all to determine cause of death. Y'all say it don't look suspicious, but y'all don't know how she died. So how can you say it's not suspicious? We don't know how she actually died. And then everybody keep on saying she's been sick for a while. She's been sick for a while. I say, well, so y'all trying to say, it ain't weird though that she died just several days after they got exonerated and she died on the death date of President Kennedy? And you know the history of her father's connection to Kennedy death by calling the chicken coming home to roost. The chicken's coming home to roost. People are really dumbed down. It's a cover up. It's like a murder to me, allegedly. I don't know. But like I said, nobody dies a natural death in the killing machine. Nobody dies a natural death in a killing machine. And the government killed Malcolm. Elements of the government, like elements, like you had military in Memphis. You had the military in Memphis from March 28th, 1968 to April 12th, 1968. March 28th was the rally that Dr. King led downtown that turned into a mess. Because you had agent provocateurs that messed up their peaceful march, right? So that was the last march. Then the next Thursday, he was dead. At Thursday, March 28th, the march was a failure, but people blamed Dr. King when it was agent provocateurs that undermined the unity of that march. So that, you know, also that's when Larry Payne got killed by the police in the projects in front of witnesses. He didn't have no weapon, but the police killed him in cold blood. I interviewed Larry Payne's mom and brother. Larry Payne's mom and his family ran out of Memphis up to Flint, and she died in Flint a couple years ago. They went from Memphis to Flint. You know about that water crisis. So it's a lot of stuff, man. Like I said, we got to start studying. Yo, we don't really study nothing. Like I said, I'll make it easy for you. For the King thing, there's some things I may not agree with it on, but this is a good starting point. The Plot to Kill King by Dr. William Pepper. I'm gonna try to get him on the show if I can. I don't know, man. I have a lot going on. People don't appreciate the stuff that, you know, it takes hours of this. I make it look too easy for a lot of y'all. This ain't easy to do. I got a lot of other stuff going on, but I felt the need to come on here. Okay, yeah. King Richard. I'm gonna talk about that. Maybe about 10 more minutes, I'm getting out of here. I thoroughly enjoyed King Richard, the movie about Richard Williams, Venus and Serena's father. Great movie. Movie was phenomenal. Will Smith is exceptional. I don't really care about all that Will and Jada mess. This stuff is ridiculous. I miss the days when movie stars were mysterious and had a mystique about them. You know, you didn't know everything that was happening at that time with Marilyn Monroe and with Clark Gable. All this stuff came out years later. You didn't know what was going on with these people. I don't care about all that mess. This is weird that people get so infatuated with this BS. I don't care. Will Smith is a great actor. I would say it's an award-winning turn he did with Richard Williams. Concussion was like, oh, your accent, bro. I don't know about the concussion, but with King Richard, he deserved to get some award nominees. Be an award nominee, you know, whatever. But what I like about King Richard, it shows the power of Black men to manifest and create things. Our power to breathe life into certain things. Black father is one of the greatest fathers on the planet. You look at when a Black man gets involved in the life of a child, what they can do for a child's confidence, and just everything else. I mean, confidence is fathers instill confidence in children. They provide a sense of protection and confidence for their children. To have these girls, he had a house full of girls, and to give the girls the type of confidence to deal in a world like this speaks volumes, especially where he came from in the South, where I remember I read somewhere, I think it was in his autobiography, that one of his best friends was lynched for allegedly stealing a chicken down in Louisiana. Then he talked about in the movie how his father allowed a group of white men to beat him. And luckily he survived that, to beat him. Father ran away. But yet, you know, he confronted those gang leaders or gang bangers at the park so his kids can flourish. He was willing to put his life on the line, his well-being on the line for his children. And it speaks volumes because Black fathers matter. And a lot of, you know, there's a lot of good men out there. I mean, I remember the late John Thompson, the coach of Georgetown. You know, his son followed his footsteps as a basketball coach. And I remember one year he had some great success in the NCAA playoffs, the Sweet 16 or something like that. And instead of giving John Thompson Sr. the credit for his son's development as a man, as a coach, they gave it to the white coaches that he went to school at, the Ivy League schools. They didn't give any credit to John Thompson. And I thought that was strange. I said, man, this man obviously got a great father, man. You know, John Thompson gave Allen Iverson a second chance when everybody else turned their backs on him. He gave him a second chance at life, at a career, you know. And you look at even back in the 80s when Georgetown was dominating, you know, Patrick Ewing, all them guys. I used to love watching Georgetown when they come to Memphis to play the Tigers. Back in the 90s with Allen Iverson, it was always fun. But, you know, John Thompson was taking on the drug dealers. Like he confronted Rayford Edmond, from my understanding, the big time DC drug dealer. Stay away from my guys. Stay away from my guys. I mean, this is like, these guys could have killed John Thompson. He didn't give a damn. He stood his ground. And then you look at, I like what Deion Sanders doing down in Jackson State. Like, I hope he stay down there and make a difference, because he's making a difference in them young men's lives just by being so sincere, you know, motivating. And then he one of the greatest football players and athletes of all time, period. And for him to really care about our people and invest in them guys and give them some hope and some light. Then I look at what Richard Williams did. You know, his kids started out in Compton, right? You know, he's taking on the gangbangers and stuff like that in the hood. Y'all say, you got to run away from the hood, man. It's scary. I mean, they eventually got out the hood, of course. They went to Florida and they went on to bigger and greater things, but he had to start somewhere. You know, and with black people, we take the least of something, make the most of it. We take the least of things and make the most of it. You know, they give us banged up instruments, we make jazz. They take away music education out the schools, we create hip hop and rap. We were very creative people, the alchemists of humanity. Everybody benefits when we create stuff. We got to learn how to put value on who we are. And when I think about the movie, it teaches you how to value yourself. It teaches you about self-worth and work ethic and having self-worth. These are important because you could show even in the movie, for example, when Venus, you know, started making waves, she started, you know, trying, you know, about to turn pro, whatever. And the coach said, well, Nike want to sign you for $2 million or whatever. And they started looking at the contract. And the father said, well, you know, it's up to Venus. What do you want to do? And then Venus said, I want to prove that I'm worth something. I want to know what I'm worth. I don't want you to assign me this value right now. I want to see what I'm worth. I want to try myself out. I want to give myself a chance. A lot of us, we don't give ourselves a chance. We sign the first thing we see. Like Ice Cube said during the NBA strike several years ago. I heard Ice Cube on a podcast. And he said, well, during the NBA strike, what the last one, and he was saying, just because that's the most money you ever seen, don't mean that's the best deal to take. Just because that's the most money you ever seen flash before your eyes shown to you, does not mean that's the best deal to take. It's like even when Bishop T.D. Jakes once said in one of his sermons I watched, I don't watch Bishop Jakes that much, but one thing, it's like years ago, he said, have the ability to walk away from a good deal. Have the ability to say no to a so-called good deal. Because you look at the movie, it teaches you that, because she almost defeated the #1 player in the world, and she hadn't played competitive tennis in 3 years. And she almost took out the most dominant player in the world, but the only reason she wasn't able to take her out because she was froze. She wasn't used to playing at that level and being, you know, having the competition play psychological warfare on that level. But she ended up winning because, like I said, in the end, months later, she was able to secure a deal for $12 million from Reebok. But what if she had took it that $2 million deal? It's like I think about Michael Jordan when I saw that, you know, with Nike. Michael Jordan basically saved Nike. Yeah, and people say, well, he's a billionaire. I said, well, he should be owning Nike. But he I guess he gave him a deal. I mean, he's like, you know, he took the first thing, I guess. But I think if you think about Jordan saved Nike, he should be at least co-owner of Nike right now. But it's about the deals you make. We all making deals, man. So when you talk about Illuminati and contracts, everybody make contracts. You making contracts with the light, the water, gas company. You make contracts with the car dealerships, your insurance people. Everything is based on so-called contracts. Contracts. Cons. Everything's a con. Everything. Well, I'm not bad mouthing the Nation of Islam. That's why I said so. Hey, but it ain't about that. It's about, you know, just being honest. You know, call a spade, you know. It's like it was a journalist that was killed in Oakland some years ago. Not even that long ago. It was a journalist. He was like an investigative journalist, a good brother, from my understanding. From my understanding, he was a good brother, a brother of the community. But he was killed allegedly by some members of an alleged bakery out in the Bay, out in Oakland. I'm trying to get it right. Chauncey Bailey. Look up Chauncey Bailey. He was an award-winning journalist. Leslie had some beef with some people that were connected to your black Muslim bakery out in the Bay, and he was killed. And they never solved the murder, from my understanding. And that happened back in 2007. Let me see. And it went out of business in 2007. Ain't that? Before his shooting death in August of 2000, it went out of business in August of 2007. The same, month he died. Before his shooting death in August 2007, editor Chauncey Bailey of the Oakland Post was working on a story about the finances of your black Muslim bakery involving its pending bankruptcy. Ali Salim Bey was Bailey's source for the story, which the Post withheld on the belief that it was not yet ready for publication. According to Ali, your black Muslim bakery had been seized from its rightful heirs in a coup through fraud and forgery by a younger branch of the family. That included Antar Bey and Yusuf Bey IV. Ali revealed that in June 2005, John Bey, a former head of the Bay Security Service, who had tried to expose the fraud behind the coup, fled Oakland with his family after an attempt on his life in a shooting outside his home. In 2005, Antar mortgaged the bakery property to cover back taxes and other debt, and then defaulted, which led to threat of foreclosure. On the morning of August 2nd, 2007, Bailey was murdered in downtown Oakland by Devondre Broussard. I guess they found out, okay, a 19-year-old Your Black Muslim bakery handyman who was on probation for a San Francisco robbery conviction had found out where Bailey lived. At 7:25 a.m., Broussard spotted Bailey leaving a McDonald's restaurant where Bailey regularly stopped to eat breakfast, wearing a ski mask and dark clothing. He then got out a Park Ford Aerostar and approached Bailey with a Mossberg shotgun. Broussard's first blast hit Bailey in the chest, after which he stood over him and fired at his face execution style, and then fired a coup de grace to make sure he was dead. He then escaped in the van. Broussard admitted to police the next night that he then ambushed and killed Bailey. Oakland police investigators said that he confessed to the murder because he was angry over the past and ongoing articles written by Bailey about your black Muslim bakery and its personnel. They closed that thing down. So on August 7th, Broussard was arraigned in Alameda County Superior Court for Bailey's murder, and also charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm and with having a prior felony conviction from San Francisco. In August 2011, he was sentenced to 25 years in state prison. On June 11, 2011, Yusuf IV was convicted on 3 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. In 2015, a state appeals court upheld the convictions of Yusuf Bey IV and Antoine Mackey. Okay. So that happened in Oakland back in August of 2007. Your black Muslim bakery, they killed this brother outside of McDonald's. Can't go to McDonald's because they kill people with Mossbergs. Dude, they killed a 19-year-old guy. They got him and the shot caller. They sent him out there. Did Chauncey Bailey deserve to die because he was great at his job as being an investigative journalist? He was serving the community by telling the truth, by being a truth teller. So, brother. So this is why I'm doing what I do, because who else talking about Chauncey Bailey and your black Muslim bakery story? And how, look at young Dolph. He died at Makita's Cookie, a black-owned business. And, people been doxing these folks, talking about they got bankruptcy issues and financial trouble. Was young Dolph a silent partner in Makita's Cookie? I don't know. Hopefully all this would come out. But I know that their GoFundMe has been stalled because of social media posts, asking questions and looking at them side-eyed. Like, y'all got all these different stories. What they should have had was a lawyer. And if those people at the news office was their friends, they would say, look, you sure you don't want to talk to a lawyer before you talk to us? These folks don't give a damn about being people friends. It is, if it bleeds, it leads. So even the young Dolph thing is weird. If I heard that audio that said that they thought, the lady said it was 2 cars. It was the white van and a black SUV with dudes in black. You look at the photo of them guys, because people say ain't no professional hit. It is a professional hit. You want to know why? Because If all they shot was young Dolph, they knew what they were doing. They knew how to handle them guns. Those guys, maybe they natural born killers, maybe they prodigies like Mozart or something. I don't know. But those guys knew what they were doing. But I think there was some help. It might have been backdoored in terms they coming from the kitchen and hitting Dolph. I don't know. A lot of stuff ain't making sense because they said that the skinny dude that was firing back, that's his brother. I don't know where he at. He's in witness protection. What's going on with this stuff? Because they're not letting people know. But if you look at how they write the articles and all the stuff they're doing, they think people are idiots. All these articles I read, like with Malika Shabazz, with Clarence Avant wife, even with this, this this shit's crazy. But I guess people send me stuff. I mean, I can read all this stuff. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Almost it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Let me see. Yeah, but it's like brother Ari sent me some information between Airways, catch them all the way to the mound, the Krog Center to Binghamton. They rebuilding it, bro. My grandfather helped build that area in South Memphis. Maybe they did a Nipsey hustle. Like what I mean by Nipsey hustle, like Nipsey, the place where he owned was in the way of real estate development. They building that big multi-billion-dollar stadium for the Rams, and then they got other things they built in the area. And Nipsey had that strip mall area that he owned allegedly, and he was in the way in progress, and they had to, eliminate him in eminent domain that area. So, like with Young Dolph, he had a lot of real estate in his portfolio. They say he had over 100 properties in Memphis, supposedly. So he's worth more than $3 million. And then you got to think about the other investments he made. I'm sure you probably made some investments in cryptocurrency and all that other stuff. But but this stuff is deep, man. It's not, don't let them fool you that it's just some street. There ain't no street. It's sweet stuff. It's executive level stuff. Like Young Dolph is an independent artist legend. He's not just he was not one of just the great Memphis rappers. He's one of the greatest rappers of his generation. Not only that, he's one of the greatest hip-hop businessmen of his generation. And they cut him. He like Kid Icarus. He flew too close to the sun and his wings melted. But fly high, Young Dolph. Fly high, Young Dolph. And he had the right woman with him, Mia J. I wish if they, hopefully like everything's situated what she get, what she got to get. I know the kids should be taken care of, but Mia J is going to be his ISIS to his Osiris. Cause I saw the video she did after her brother died, and some black men deserve to grow old, and I agree with her because I'm a black man and I deserve to grow old. But I think she's a queen that she's really going to amplify his legacy moving forward. She's like a Coretta in a way that she's not going to let his death be in vain. But I hope that the police get not only the hitters, but the shooters. I mean, not only the shooters or the hitters, but the shot callers. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. And I hope that the shot callers are not people that are very popular themselves, that do a lot of good for the community. I hope they are not associated with what happened to Young Dolph. But if it be, may the heavens fall and may justice be done. It is what it is. It is what it is. But I think the King Richard thing, I didn't want to say one more thing about King Richard. I saw the article one of his daughters wrote that was not raised with the Williams sisters, his first family. He allegedly abandoned his first family and started a new one with his second wife, with her daughters and stuff. And she said, well, King Richard was a comedy more so than an actual biopic, because it's basically called King Richard, or Richard Williams was a deadbeat dad because he didn't take care of his other kids. And somebody told me he had allegedly 19 kids, and they touched on that in the biopic. When he had that scene with his wife in the kitchen, they touched on his thing, and it is what it is. Yeah, he might have had all them kids, but he did give the world the Williams sisters. He had a plan for 2 of his kids, and he manifested that mother. He manifested that plan. It's like Young Dolph said, things in his rhymes that came true. He said they trying to give me like they got Kennedy or something. And that I pray for my enemies. Look up Bulletproof. Look at the song I Pray for My Enemies. He already knew he was a mark man. He got shot 100 times in Charlotte, and he made a whole album about it called Bulletproof. And he said, I pray for my enemies. They trying to do me like they did Kennedy. It's always an inside job. But he gave us Williams sisters. It's like what Tiger Woods' daddy, Earl Woods. He had kids before Tiger, but they all wasn't Tiger Woods. He gave us Tiger Woods. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody got their flaws. Everybody. I know great men. I have been blessed to know really great men with stature and integrity and honor, but their family might have got the short end of the stick. I know one of my Jagners, Mr. Emerson Abel Jr., who passed away 6 years, became righteous ancestor 6 years ago. He was a brilliant man. He was a great music educator, but his kids felt like he short-ended them. He was so into making sure other people's kids getting taken care of as a musician, as a music educator. He made sure a lot of black kids got scholarships to prominent schools. He helped a lot of black kids get scholarships. He was Isaac Hayes, a high school band director at Manassas. He kicked Isaac Hayes out the high school band, ended up working for Isaac Hayes at Stax, helping him arrange his music and stuff like Shaft and all that stuff. But he was always a big advocate for Memphis recognizing Isaac Hayes, who died a questionable death the same weekend as Bernie Mac. Isaac Hayes lived in the Memphis area, but Memphis never did right. They didn't really respect Isaac Hayes like they should have respected Isaac Hayes, but he still is buried in Memphis. He has an amazing grave site in Memphis, awful popular, that I pay homage to because another great man is buried there. There was a Jackson of mine, the Judge D. Army Bailey, the Honorable Judge D. Army Bailey, who was a civil rights advocate icon and a judge and a lawyer and a movie actor. He actually was the preacher in How Stella Got Her Groove Back. He was the judge that Willie Harrison threw like oranges or mandarin, whatever he was throwing them oranges at him. He was that judge in The People versus Larry Flint. He did a couple of movies. He wrote books and stuff. He was a friend of mine. He knew me for most of my life, but he passed away back in 2015 along with Mr. Abel. They all died this summer, which is crazy. But that Mr. Abel, man, he was a great man. Made sure a lot of black kids got scholarships. Was the co-founder of the Southern Heritage Classic, where Deion Sanders and Jackson State recently played Tennessee State, led by Eddie George, his coach. He founded it in his living room. But his kids, they felt like they were short-sighted. He had 3 kids. He got 3 kids, 2 sons and a daughter. If you look at them, very well educated, all professional people. One's a medical doctor. One owns his own insurance company. The other one is a detective in the police department. But yet they feel like their father didn't really spend enough time with them like he should have, because he was helping everybody else. Kids, that's the price you pay when you that great. I'm sure that John Thompson's son felt like his father took away a lot of time from him helping other people, kids. But man, that's why black fathers matter, black men matter, black masculinity matters, because this is what happened when you take away people like a Malcolm X at 39, like a young Dolph at 36, like a Nipsey at 33, or Dr. King at 39, a Fred Hampton at 21. We need black men to reach their prime. These guys were not in their prime, their masculinity, when they were taken out of here. They were cut at the knees. I promise you, if you had like a Bunchy Carter, a Fred Hampton still around, they were able to reach some type of maturity. A lot of these cats wouldn't be out in the streets acting like feminine traits. They wouldn't be all emotional. See, when you see stuff like that happen to young Dolph or Nipsey, it's because these cats, they mamas raised them. They got too much feminine energy. They too emotional. They're not rational. They don't know how to calm down and be logical and weigh things out. Like Tupac even said, he needed a father because his mouth is like his mom, but he needed a father figure to pull him back and hold him back a little bit to toughen him. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that in our community by design because they saw what the 60s was about. We don't want no more black masculine energy rising up against the man, want to control their community and resources, want to raise their children, want to support their women. We don't want them type of black men. We want black men that wear dresses. We don't want those type of black men anymore. So what you're saying has been by design. So stop the killing and, black on black crime. This is all by design. This is a killing machine. It kills you physically, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. It's all about killing to control. Like you look at these celebrities, a lot of them be all strung out on drugs, and especially musicians, because you're easy to control when you strung out or dead. If they don't want to kill you right away, they strung you out. They get you doped up. It's like with with Ike. Ike is not what you know. One thing I saw Miss Robbie and Bobby Rush in St. Louis last Black Friday. And you know, and Miss Robbie, you know, she's the owner of Sweetie Pies. You know, was a situation with her son, and he killed allegedly, you know, had a kill for hire contract killing done on his nephew, her grandson. And Miss Robbie been through a lot, but she don't look her worries or struggles or stress. And she kept on talking about Ike throughout her set. She did a great set. She actually can't sing. She did a great set, and she talked about Ike. But the thing about Ike, it was not done in spite; it was done in love. Because she has a lot of respect for Ike Turner. Because what y'all don't understand is that y'all hatred of Ike Turner is based on Hollywood depiction of Ike Turner, played by Lawrence Fishburne, not by Ike Turner. If you look at the history of Ike Turner, Tina Turner family loved Ike Turner. Tina Turner know the value of Ike Turner's name. That's why she still got the name Turner. You know, she's married to this white dude. That's her name because Ike Turner is a powerful name in R&B and blues. Ike Turner was he was a god of rock and roll R&B. I think B.B. King said he was the best band leader he ever saw because he was disciplined, he was organized. He had his, you know, it wasn't until he got on drugs that everything fell apart. Not making excuses, but he was diagnosed as bipolar. Not making excuses, but he had ran a tight ship. And you know, when drugs happen, that's with anything. But anyway, I think I talked enough. I could talk a lot, but I did enough. I gave y'all didn't really donate nothing, but I gave y'all money's worth. Thank you all who did donate something and for spending time with me. Cause I could talk about the Young Dolph thing, but Young Dolph is ours. People talking about see when people start saying, well, you know, they're gonna bury him in Chicago. I said he ain't never really talk about Chicago. He always talk about Memphis. He talk about South Memphis. He talk about Hamilton. He talk about Jack Pirtle's chicken. I was about getting some Jack Pirtle's in under Young Dolph yesterday. I ended up getting some Popeyes. It was all right. But Young Dolph was Memphis, man. Like I said, the cats who wasn't born in Memphis, we love Memphis more than cats from Memphis. I mean, I was born in Knoxville, but I was raised here. Like Jimmy Lunsford is buried here, the king of jazz or swing, the king of music education. He's buried in Elmwood in South Memphis. Man, we love Memphis, man. But you know, no matter where I live, what I decide to do, I'm always gonna big up Memphis. There's a reason why there are more recorded songs about Memphis than any other city in America. There are more recorded music songs about Memphis than Chicago, than L.A., than New York, than New Orleans, Los Angeles. Memphis is a very powerful place. And my thing is, I'm tired of people trying to put us down. I'm tired of Memphians trying to put Memphis. You don't even know enough about Memphis to put Memphis down. Don't you understand that Memphis is not the land of the dead? It's land of the rebirth, of resurrection, of really incubation for greatness. If you think about religious, like Church of God of Christ was started in Memphis. You know, Bishop Mason was from Memphis. Church of God in Christ allowed Dr. King a platform to speak his truth to power. A lot of black ministers couldn't stand Dr. King. But Mason Temple, he did his last speech at Mason Temple. Church of God Christ that loved Dr. King. Like, you know, Dr. King's favorite singer was from Memphis. It wasn't Mahalia Jackson. It was J. Robert Bradley. He was from South Memphis. He was the protege of Lucy Campbell, who was the mother of gospel music. She was born in Duck Hill, Mississippi, went to school at Rush College. And she taught at Booker T. Washington High School for decades. But she was the director of music for the National Baptist Convention. And she was the Jegna for Mahalia Jackson and the opera star Marian Anderson. It's a black woman, little small black woman that used to teach at Booker T. Washington in South Memphis. And Booker T. Washington High School also produced Maurice White, the founder of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Y'all keep on trying to connect them to Chicago. Yeah, he got Chicago connected, but he was born and raised in Memphis. That's the founder of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Maurice White. I met him before, back in the early 2000s. He was a good guy. He wasn't stuck up or nothing. But he died in 2016. But no, I ain't gonna let people get away with slandering Memphis, man. Stop that. Even Memphians, y'all crazy. They think Memphis ain't great. I mean, the reason why you don't think it's great because you've been beaten down so much. It's a plantation town. They want to pay people smart enough to throw boxes around at a damn factory. They don't want to give you no real education because real education is liberation. You ain't gonna find that in no school. You find it about learning about yourself. Know thyself. Young Dolph knew himself. Know thyself. That's the foundation for all pursuits in education and excellence. You gotta have a foundation to know thyself. And you won't learn it because y'all keep telling me, well, they don't teach it in school. I never learned about Black history in school. I don't. They never teach me no critical race theory in no school. You need to learn some critical race thinking outside the classroom. Your life is a classroom. Your life is a movie. It's what you make of it. You know, like I said, I could stay on here for hours. I'm not gonna do that. You know, people like it's funny how people, well, you don't let Judge Joe Brown speak. Judge Joe Brown do most of the speaking for most of the time. I can't get a word in. I helped out to my own. I can't even counter what he got to say or ask him a question. But it's all love, though. I know y'all love Judge. But what's funny to me is that we gotta find a way to love people, but also be able to do your research and be willing to challenge people sometimes. You know, I challenge Judge on some of this stuff. Some stuff he says like, okay, Judge, but he's Judge. I mean, and my thing about it is it's about respect. Judge, wherever you think about Judge Joe Brown, you got to respect him because of his service to humanity. This stuff he has done. The cats that came at Judge, I ain't gonna say their names. They're not of the same pedigree. They don't got the same resume as Judge Joe Brown. I can speak on Judge because I've been studying him, and I've been knowing him for 7 years now. But I've been studying him. He did a lot of great things for Black folks. He don't get credit for it, like a lot of people. Like about Judge De'Armond Bailey, who I love dearly. He is credited as the founder of the Civil Rights Museum, you know. But the thing about it is, it was not only him; it was a group that included him and Judge Joe Brown that helped found the Civil Rights Museum. The Judge name is not on the Civil Rights Museum, but he's one of the founders that saved that building from demolition. They brought the land, they secured the land, and they saved that land and turned it into the National Civil Rights Museum, the site of Dr. King's crucifixion. So this is the thing I'm saying, like, you got to be able to give credit what credit is due, but be able to walk away sometimes, know when to hold them and fold them. You know, like people, I remember the time with Dick Gregory, you know, how he used to go off on me. That stuff used to piss me off a lot of times. I ain't gonna lie. He would say some stuff like, how's the family? But it's been a situation where he said it to the wrong person. Well, I had to step in. He don't know about it. He never knew about it. And hey, young blood. Hey, come down, young blood. I ain't sound like that. Hey, man, come down. Come down. He's an entertainer. Calm down. Don't do this. I mean, I remember people tell me about people, like one guy, a young guy, young black, it's like young Black dudes trying to prove something. God said we be into our you too feminine is not balanced because we don't have enough male influence around us to keep us balanced. Like you look at that show, The Shy, right? The problem with the young guy who's the lead of The Shy is not that he's a problem child. He don't have enough masculine male energy around him to help him direct some of that stuff, to focus him. He got all these women, whether they be straight women or gay women, they all around. He all in a house full of women. Got no type of male energy, and the dude that's supposed to be his role model is a man child. He needs some direction. Hell, his father, the man child father, need direction. Emmett, he need direction. It's funny how she named him Emmett, because Emmett, you know, never got to be a man. He was killed at 14. You know, and the Emmett and just Shy, he got the baby boy complex. But a lot of Black men or Black males, excuse me, got that baby boy complex. You understand? So it's something, but like a lot of these cats, man, like, you know, one dude would tell me this guy was interviewing Dick Gregory, and Dick said something slick to him. He a young guy. He wanted to fight Dick Gregory. They had to hold him back. It's a young guy. He working for a newspaper or some media organization. He wanted to fight Dick Gregory. And then when the guy, his boss, called Dick Gregory to see how the interview went, he said it went fine. That was Dick told his boss. But then somehow somebody found out there was a lie that this dude tried to fight Dick Gregory. Then he got fired. This dude lost his job because he couldn't take Dick Gregory saying some slick stuff to him. And it cost him his job. A young Black guy. It said that, you know, cats can't take critique anymore without getting too upset. I mean, I'm from art school. I mean, we used to have group critiques and stuff in art school. Folks would break down and cry. I mean, we're not saying that you're a horrible person. We're just saying your artwork is terrible. We're not saying that you're a terrible person, but people don't know they got thin skin. And if you're going to do what we doing, you know, like, you know, people say they want to be my moderator. I can't help folks moderators who are thin skinned. You can't get upset. Everybody ain't gonna like you. But I don't want anybody to just shut down a conversation just because they don't like the person's point of view. So, I mean, it is what it is. But I think I'm gonna shut up for right now. I think I talked enough. I talked about the things I want to talk about. Yeah, ain't no such thing as the elders. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. If you don't know no knowledge of self, you can't respect the so-called elder. No, Dick Gregory cursed me out, did some disrespectful stuff, but also he did some good things for me too. He did a lot of great things for me. But the thing about it is, I was able to give Dick a pass on a lot of things because I knew his history. I knew the things he was up against, what he sacrificed, and what he did for our people that he don't get enough credit for. So when you know that's a real OG, that's a real elder. Everybody that's old is not an elder. There's a lot of folks that pride themselves on looking good, young. They don't leave nothing behind for people. Dick Gregory had a haggard beard and like some Old Testament stuff going on with Dick Gregory at the end, but he left a lot of stuff for us to have. He gave more than he took. A lot of folks just take stuff, don't give nothing. A lot of folks, oh, look at me, girl, I'm 60, but I look like I'm 45. But what you leaving for your children, your grandchildren, though? Nothing but debt and really no name. But Dick had left a legacy and a name for not only his biological people, but for his people in general. He left us with something to build on. So, like I said with Judge Joe Brown, cats want to make their name doing some BS clout chasing stuff. And Judge has done more in 10 years than he cats done in all their 40 years of living or 30 years of living. So when you know that information about people, that's like young Dolph. Young Dolph should not got shot in no cookie shop. If they knew who young Dolph really was, they would have gave him a pass. Just like Frank Sinatra kept on getting passed when the mob, some people in the mobs, I'm gonna kill Frank. No, don't kill Frank. No, don't kill him. But what y'all don't know, or what y'all should know, that Frank Sinatra, mama did die in a horrible plane crash. I think she was on her way to a birthday party in Vegas. And her plane flew into a mountain. It was the same mountain, I think, that Dean Martin's son died in. He was a pilot, and I think his plane crashed into the same mountain. If not mistaken, that Frank Sinatra mama plane crashed into. So Frank had to have some losses. I'm not saying that it was, not an accident, but nobody's dies a natural death in show business. So it's a lot to those things. I appreciate that. I went through a lot of cursing out to get to those points. Yeah, it's not about agree to disagree, but you don't have to fight nobody. It's like it's some so-called elders that won't talk to me because of my political perspectives. They threw away years of good relationship because I don't think like them. And it's the reason why I don't think like them because they old and they still don't got what they should have had 50 or 60 years ago. Yeah, these kids, I mean, I just look, I'm like, stop making the mailman a messiah, man. I don't follow these kids like that. People say, who you listen to? I don't listen to these people. I remember when I was in school, I had professors, they trying to figure me out because this guy got another, he know a lot of different stuff. He's an interesting dude. I said, one guy, Dr. Duncan, he passed away this year, man. He made the ancestors or made the Most High be pleased. He said, well, who sent you? I said, who you mean sent me? He said, who trained you? I said, I just read books and talk to people and do stuff. So he was just impressed that, when in art school, in college, the teacher said, there's no way you're supposed to have a style right now. You don't supposed to know yourself like this, like the way you do things. I said, that's kind of weird. Why should I have a style? It's like I tell these so-called jazz students, why y'all trying to play like Charlie Parker instead of playing like yourself? Be yourself. That's how you make your contribution. Likewise, brother. We love you madly. You can lay your feet on me, even if I'm not rude. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? That's why they know it like young Dolph. Like this is why his girl his wife, his partner, Mia J, said black men deserve to grow old. Because look at you, if you look at young Dolph, who gonna hurt the most about young Dolph being gone? It's gonna be his children, in particular his daughter. She was a daddy's girl. You could tell in those photos and videos that she loved her daddy, that she worshiped her daddy, and now he's gone. Then you got to think about what type of man gonna be around her to be a role model. You know, who gonna step up? You know, and it's like Mia J. I feel sorry for her in a way, not only because of the loss of young Dolph, but what kid would be brave enough to come behind a young Dolph? It's like you think about what kid would have been brave enough to come behind a Malcolm or Dr. King. Now, you know, Mega Evers' widow remarried a guy who was an activist-minded, you know, organizer. And she's like, she had a good life and she's still around. But I'm saying, who want to be the guy that won't be the guy that came after young Dolph? Because every time somebody look at you, they're gonna measure you. Well, young Dolph was this, young, but he dead though. They got him killed. But he was this and that, and young Dolph did this, the turkey drive. Like, nah, I don't know. We could just be friends. But I'll be Uncle so and so. I don't know. I could be your man. I mean, but you know, but she's like to be taken care of well. Her and the children. I wish them the best. But yeah, when your man are getting killed before they even reach 30, or even when you become a man, there is a problem. There is a problem. What do they fear about black men? What is the fear of black men? We make the best soldiers. We could train. I mean, think about it. What we do and don't get credit for. Yeah, I could be the uncle. I don't know how I want to be. Like, I mean, this dude that came behind young Dolph, man. He the king of Memphis. Oh, okay, man. Damn. Okay. Yeah, it is sad. Well, okay. I guess we're through. I thank y'all for hanging out with me. Sometimes I be struggling want to get on the air, then I can't get off the air. If you like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. Thank y'all for supporting. Views been up. Subscribership is actually in the plus right now. I've been losing subscribers. It's this weird time. Like, I don't even trust the numbers on my YouTube or subscribers. I don't know what's going on, but it's like everything's going in the right way now. But thank y'all. If you like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. If you want to support the movie, Cash App $R2C2H2. You can also PayPal, Google Pay, and Zelle your support at R2C2H2 at gmail.com. You can also Vimo your support at R2C2H2. Also, wear Art of His Art, my Jimmy Lunsford Legacy or Jamboree Festival shirt. Go below the description box. Access the shelf to our official Teespring site, the R2C2H2's place. You can buy Art of His Art. You see all this wonderful art. It was a wonderful time of the year. R2C2H2.com. You can also become a Patreon or patron at patreon.com/we all be. So I think that's enough about that. Yes, it wasn't John. Yeah, we make the best. Best soldiers. Oh, yes. You got to understand that the Union was losing the Civil War until black soldiers enlisted. The Union Army was losing until Lincoln said we're gonna have some soldiers and black soldiers, some of the best soldiers, man. Even think about the Revolutionary War. Some of the best soldiers were black people. The person who won the war was Bernard Lafayette. I think, like, let me see. Y'all give me Brother Ron. Thank y'all for the donations. Todd Williams, thank you for the donation. We love you, Matt Day. Let's see who else donated. Thank you, Brother AJ. We love you. Thank you, Brother Hotep. We love you for the donation. Thank you, Brother Ronaldo. We love you for the donation on the Cash App. But let me see. The guy who actually won the American Revolutionary War was a black dude named James Armistead Lafayette. James Armistead Lafayette won the American Revolutionary War. He was a double agent. See, y'all understand George Washington actually lost more wars than he won, but he won the American Revolutionary War because he won the right wars. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. So he lost more wars than he won. He also had about 5,000 black people fighting with him. He had an organization called the Young Bucks of America, I think, or the Black Bucks of America. But James Armistead Lafayette was a double agent. He was a double spy. Bucks of America. You had a black organization called the Bucks of America, not the Milwaukee Bucks of Milwaukee, but the Bucks of America. There was a black organization that fought in the Revolutionary War. Just look them up. They said the Bucks of America was a Patriot, Massachusetts militia company during the American Revolutionary War that was composed of African American soldiers. Few records survive about the unit, but most of its history is constructed from eyewitness accounts. No official military records pertaining to the Bucks of America exist or have survived. So if none, see, you gotta read what they're saying. So nothing exists as far as military records, but they know that they exist. I'm talking about the Bucks of America, but nothing exists to them that survived. If you look at even the West was won by the Buffalo Soldier, the 9th and 10th Cavalry. Black soldiers won the West. We won the Revolutionary War. We won the Civil War. We saved Teddy Roosevelt's life on when he ran up San Juan Hill. He had them black soldiers protecting him. And then Teddy Roosevelt sold out black soldiers in the Brownsville incident back in 1906. So, I mean, we everywhere. America would not be America without black people dying and fighting for it. And then also you go to World War I. I talk about James Reese Europe, the Jazz lieutenant. He was the first black man to lead troops in the battle during World War I, but also his regiment was the 369th Regiment adopted by the French, which was really the National Guard 15th Regiment from New York. They were disowned by the American government and by the American Expeditionary Force led by Blackjack John Pershing. They were adopted by the French. They was the most decorated unit from America. They was on the fire longer than anybody else. 191 straight days. They never lost a ground to enemy fire. And they all earned the Croix de Guerre, or many of their officers and soldiers earned the Croix de Guerre, which is like the Medal of Honor in France. Yeah, Sergeant Henry Johnson, he took on about 21 Germans by himself with just a Bowie knife. Just got his Medal of Honor posthumously during President Obama's tenure. I could go on and on and on about this stuff. And you got to think about with the Black Wall Street, the black people were winning because a lot of them black men that were fighting against the white folks were military guys. They were veterans from World War I. The reason why Black Wall Street got destroyed is when the black men turned themselves into so-called authorities. Just like when the People's Grocery in Memphis, when they got in a shootout with the white folks, they found out they killed, or they thought they killed some white folks that were plainclothes police. They turned themselves in and they got lynched. Soon as the black men turned themselves in to the so-called National Guard or whatever, they destroyed Black Wall Street. You had black men sniping from the church tower and all this stuff. They said that white folks threw a whole bunch of white folks in the Arkansas River. The Arkansas River has quicksand. So to hide the number of white folks actually killed by the black people during the Black Wall Street massacre, they threw them in the Arkansas River, and the quicksand took a lot of them bodies to into the earth. So this is all documented through books and eyewitness testimony and stuff like that. Yeah, we that's why they fear us. Because think about it, what we use that type of know-how for our own liberation. Instead of entertaining white people and other people, what we use our skills and our amazing abilities and stuff for our liberation. That's why we're a threat. That's why they screw our minds up. Yeah, you can look all this up. You don't have to believe a black man. I'm just saying. Yeah, they poison the water. So I guess we good, y'all. Our family. I gave y'all almost 4 hours. I guess I fed y'all enough. Like Dick Gregory said, you the feeder. So I thank y'all so much. And I'll read Thank y'all so much. I'm just read a disclaimer. No, this brother wrong with disclaimer. Disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group, Inc., We Are News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information and letting the general public be the ultimate judge and decide on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. Thank you all for listening, tuning in, or tuning out to tune in. Thank you, J Jax. We love you madly. I guess I am. I don't, people say you should just teach in the schools. I don't want the headache. I like my schedule options. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. The words of Great Duke Elton. We love you all madly. Keep on producing and pushing. One love. Peace.